Mu Jialan looked at Chen Xiang strangely, because she saw that Chen Xiang had used the shrinking step just now. Adding to the fact that Chen Xiang had the ability of emergency response just now, she could not help but suspect that the person in front of her was Chen Xiang. Mu Jialan looked at Chen Xiang strangely, because she saw that Chen Xiang had used the shrinking step just now. Adding to the fact that Chen Xiang had the ability of emergency response just now, she could not help but suspect that the person in front of her was Chen Xiang. Will they chase us here? How far is this place from Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace? Chen Xiang asked. There was that kind of dog in Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, although it would not be targeted, but the smell emitted from the three women's bodies was too easy to differentiate. We are very far from the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, it is a very remote place, and near the Immortal Palace, they will not chase us, we need to worry about the wanted list in the future, none of us will be able to escape. Yu Xuelian had already calmed down. They had already been prepared for the hunt in the future. Chen Xiang took out 3 Holy Spirit rabbits and gave them to the 3 women. Looking at the 3 cute jade rabbit, they immediately felt that they were sighing endlessly, they had almost died just for these 3 little things. Even though they could successfully escape, they would definitely face the pursuit of many parties in the future. First, the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. These 4 jade rabbits belonged to the Divine Saber Immortal Palace, so it could be said that the losses were the greatest, followed by the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. What happened there was probably the greatest provocation that the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace suffered in the history of the world. Not only did they try to rob such a precious thing from the inside, they even went through an intense battle. In the end, they sealed several levels of ice in the sky region of the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan would not be able to return to the Peach Blossom Immortal Country. The Holy Spirit Rabbit was sold by the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, and since they went to steal it, the Peach Blossom Immortal Country, in order to not be suspected, would definitely expel them. Unfortunately, it has to be handed over to Snow Moon Immortal Palace. Yao Shumi sighed. The Holy Spirit Rabbit was for women to use. If they used their Holy Spirit Rabbit blood for a period of time, they might be able to become immortal kings in the future. Mu Jialan looked at Chen Xiang and said softly, "You probably don't need to give it to Snow Moon Immortal Palace if Xiao Yang is Chen Xiang." Yao Shumi and Yu Xuelian immediately looked at Chen Xiang in astonishment, then looked at Mu Jialan. Yao Shumi asked. Chen Xiang curled his lips. Until now, he felt that there was no need to continue concealing it, since he and these 3 women were on the same boat anyway. However, he could jump off the boat at any time. Seeing that Chen Xiang had recovered his original appearance, the 3 girls were very surprised, but Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan were a little angry in their hearts, because Chen Xiang had plotted against them before and pretended not to know anything about Chen Xiang, spouting a lot of nonsense. "It's really you." Mu Jialan stood up and looked at him resentfully. That gaze made Chen Xiang not dare to look straight at him. "Alright, we are old friends now. You guys need my help for something. You guys have been threatened by the Snow Moon Immortal Palace's poison, or something." Chen Xiang said. "We went to look for Menger and the others. They said that you might have a way to cure it, but they are not very sure. Yan Yao's grandfather also helped us look for a cure, but he said that it was very difficult to cure it." Yao Shumi said helplessly, "That poison will act up once in a while. If there's no antidote, we would rather die." Yu Xuelian said, "If I can become a demon king and condense a heavenly sacred snow lotus, I can help them, but I'm still too far away." Mu Jialan said, "We don't know what kind of poison it is, can you really cure it? I can't bear to part with this Holy Spirit Rabbit. It should be the Snow Moon Immortal Palace's Shui Qing Ai. It's a unique poison that is often used to control people in the Snow Moon Immortal Palace. However, it was banned afterwards. I never thought that they would use all sorts of methods to obtain Holy Spirit Rabbit." Su Meiyao said, "This poison has existed for a long time. At that time, in order to prevent people from researching it, there was not much related content. Chen Xiang asked, "Can you solve it?" Mu Jialan and Yao Shumi were pretty good. Even though they were people of the Xing domain, not only were they not enemies with him back then, they had also allied with him, and had a very good relations. Hi+P with him. He would definitely think of a way to help them. In the past, our master helped others to cure them. He used the soul-absorbing devil spell, and when he sensed the poison, he could directly suck it out. However, this poison is very strong. It would be equivalent to being poisoned if it was used. By you said. Chen Xiang pinched his chin, frowned, with a profound look. Yao Shumi and the others were also waiting for him to answer. He communicated with Su Meiyao and the others for a while, and said, "This should be the strange poison Xue Qing, one that Snow Moon Immortal Palace had concocted himself." Hearing these 4 words, Yu Xuelian's expression changed greatly, and he sighed. "I didn't expect it to be this type of poison. This is going to be troublesome." Although Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan did not know of Xue Qing's poison, when they saw Yu Xuelian's expression, they knew that this poison was not simple. This is a strange poison. It's very difficult to cure, and will accompany you for the rest of your life. This is my understanding of this poison, and I never would have thought that it would be like this. Every once in a while, the concocted antidote will release the pain. Yu Xuelian's expression was ice-cold as he gritted his teeth and said, "Snow Moon Immortal Palace actually used this drug. Back then, this poison was regarded as the same as the super-old poison. Don't worry, I will definitely use the Holy Snow Lotus to cure it for all of you." Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan's face were pale white, their eyes revealed incomparable despair, as they weakly sat on the ground, looking completely bald and crippled. They had tried the pain brought by the poison before, but they didn't expect it to last for their entire lives. Chen Xiang laughed. "Don't be afraid, it's not like I said I can't solve it." Seeing Chen Xiang's mischievous smile, Mu Jialan and Yao Shumi cursed in their hearts, causing them to despair to the bottom of the valley. "You are all friends with the elder sister Menger, but you are also my friends. I will definitely do my best to help you." Chen Xiang chuckled. "You don't have to be so grateful to me, it's fine if you promise me your life. I can't take all of you mother and daughter flowers." "You," Mu Jialan said as her jade face instantly flushed red, and a red cloud faintly surfaced on Yao Shumi's cheek. Chen Xiang squatted down and said, "When I cure the poison, I want to suck the poison out of my body using my palm against my navel, quickly lift up my clothes." "What?" Mu Jialan's face, which had just lost its rosiness, once again blushed. The redness reached her ears. Letting a man touch her navel was a very embarrassing thing to do. Chen Xiang felt confused and said, "What's wrong with that? It's not like you're going to get pregnant, you feel like you're at a disadvantage." Mu Jialan bit his lower lip as he glanced at Yao Shumi. Yao Shumi nodded to her, feeling like there was nothing wrong with his hand on his stomach. Chen Xiang chuckled. "Didn't you wars? Hi+P me a lot, you should feel honored." Seeing that Mu Jialan was still hesitating, Chen Xiang said, "Take off your clothes or I'll go inside." Seeing that Mu Jialan was still hesitating, Chen Xiang said, "Take off your clothes or I'll go inside." Yao Shumi chuckled. "Then I'll go first." Although Yao Shumi had said this, he still minded it a little in his heart. But Chen Xiang had kindly helped them to cure the poison in their hearts, allowing them to get rid of the control of this strange poison, as well as allowing them to take away the Holy Spirit Rabbit. The benefits they had received could be said to be incalculable. Yao Shumi tore his clothes open to reveal a hole in his navel, enough for him to put his hand in. Chen Xiang felt that it was kind of funny. They were all wearing long skirts. If they wanted to expose their navels, they would have to take some off. It would be even more embarrassing. Although Yao Shumi was already a mother, he was still young and beautiful and looked like a sister's. His figure was also very good. Chen Xiang extended his hand and placed it on her navel. Have you started smoking? Yao Shumi asked softly, his face a little red because Chen Xiang's hands were a little dishonest as he rubbed her navel. It was just that when he placed his hands on her, that kind of feeling caused him to uncontrollably rub his hand. It might be because he had not had sex with her for many years, coupled with the fact that the person in front of him was a completely familiar woman. It has already begun. Chen Xiang looked very serious. He immediately released a burst of G.O.D. power to check out the strange poison in Yao Shumi's body, and quickly found out that most of the poison was in his abdomen, where there were a few areas filled with this poison. The amount was very large. If it was even a little longer, S entire body would have been taken up by the poison. Chen Xiang immediately locked onto the strange poison and then activated devouring magic kung fu, carefully absorbing it out. At this moment, Yao Shumi felt a cold feeling in his abdomen, the flow of the poison. Does it hurt? Chen Xiang asked. He had already sensed that a large amount of poison was congealing in his palm and releasing a cold aura. At this time, Yao Shumi was very close to Chen Xiang. She saw Chen Xiang unrestrainedly looking at her face, looking straight into her eyes, causing her to lower her head slightly. She then shook her head. It's not painful. In less than an hour, Chen Xiang had already sucked out all of the poison, and his entire palm was covered with a layer of frost. Are you all right? Yao Shumi could not help but ask when he saw Chen Xiang taking out his hand. His face was filled with worry. Chen Xiang smiled, a burst of flames emerged, and all the frost was incinerated. What's the matter? Jialun, it's your turn. Chen Xiang laughed. Seeing that his mother had successfully gotten rid of the poison, Mu Jialan was secretly happy in his heart. She was no longer as shy as before and nodded, then also ripped a hole in her navel. Don't laugh. Mu Jialan snorted softly. The evil smile on his face made her immediately understand why Xue Xianxian kept calling Chen Xiang a scoundrel, as if Lu Menger had also yelled that before. This made her think that Lu Menger might have also been hurt by Chen Xiang before, that he was his master. Her beautiful eyes flickered with multicolored light, as if she wanted to see through Chen Xiang completely. It was said that it could actually cure this strange poison, and even if it was someone from the Snow Moon Immortal Palace, they could only temporarily suppress their poison, and could not completely cure it. Yu Xuelian naturally had some understanding of Chen Xiang's achievements. To be able to drive the Fire Divine Palace away from Ditian, this was a very impressive thing. Heavenly Peach Blossom, you haven't even let a man touch your stomach before. Hee, it's time for you to find a man. Chen Xiang gently rubbed her smooth belly and laughed. He then started to circulate his qi to absorb the poison. Mu Jialan pouted. I'm not looking for one, there's no need. You guys have seen Xue Xianxian and the others, are they alright? I handled matters regarding the dragon subduing school, so I ascended much later than them. Chen Xiang asked. They are all very good, they all have very high positions in the Mortal King Immortal Palace. It's said that the Mortal King Immortal Palace is preparing to set up the Immortal Country, and they are a group of people worthy of nurturing. Are you going to the Mortal King Tian country next? Mu Jialan asked. Chen Xiang shook his head. No, I don't want to bring them any trouble. If you don't mind, I can follow you guys around everywhere for a while. Yu Xuelian said. I will take them to hide in the spirit demon realm. It is very safe there, even if the other powers know we are inside, they will not dare to mess around. Do you want to go to the spirit demon realm? Not going, but Big Sister Snow Lotus, you will have a holy snow lotus in the future, can you give me one? I am an alchemist, I have great use for this holy snow lotus. Chen Xiang asked. No problem, but you have to help me refine pills in the future. Yu Xuelian smiled slightly. The poison in Mu Jialan's body had already been sucked out, and at this point, the mother and daughter pair were all fine. Don't not know me when you become the female immortal king in the future. Chen Xiang laughed. You definitely won't be able to play with me. You're the first man to touch my stomach. What's more, once we become the female immortal king, you won't even know what kind of monster you'll be." Mu Jialan laughed mischievously. Yao Shumi said, "In the future, we will send some Holy Spirit rabbit blood over to Menger and the others at regular intervals. This will be of great use to them because you only have one jade rabbit, and it won't be enough for so many women like you." Chen Xiang coughed dryly and corrected him. "Until now, I only have Xian Xian as my wife. You have to be careful of the divine saber immortal palace. If you don't have enough strength, don't expose your green dragon demon-slaying broadsword." Yu Xuelian reminded him repeatedly. "Sister Snow Lotus, do you know LV Qinlian? She was just like you, transformed from a lotus." Chen Xiang said. "I don't know her, but I know her. She is a person that I respect very much, but I know that her relations HI+P with you is not bad. I need you to recommend her to me in the future." Yu Xuelian laughed. The poison that Chen Xiang used was all extraordinary poison, otherwise he would not have been able to handle immortal monarch rankers. "Goodbye then. We will definitely meet again in the future." Yu Xuelian took out the transmission array plate, which she had already set up beforehand. To be able to teleport to the spirit demon realm, Chen Xiang guessed that she must have spent all her savings to get such a powerful array disc. Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan said their goodbyes as well, and even hugged Chen Xiang a little. The array disc opened and the three women who had just escaped death headed towards Yao Tian. Chen Xiang looked around. He no longer had a direction, and did not know where he was. He shook his head and sighed, then casually walked towards a direction. Chen Xiang looked around. He no longer had a direction, and did not know where he was. He shook his head and sighed, then casually walked towards a direction. "I wonder what kind of people Menger's parents are. I feel that they are all very mysterious and powerful." Su Meiyao said, "When your master, this crazy old man, comes to the heaven realm, his strength will definitely increase quickly. As for Yan Xilan and the other sisters, this power cannot be underestimated in the heaven realm." Chen Xiang nodded. "Even though they are very strong, I can't always give them trouble. I'll come find them in the future." Chen Xiang would not be returning to the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace now. It was bustling with noise and excitement there. The Holy Spirit Rabbit that the Divine Saber Immortal Palace was raising had been SN. ATC head away. Several layers of the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's domain had been frozen, the grandson of the Divine Wind Immortal Country was crippled, and the soul-absorbing devil spell had appeared. All of these things added up together made the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, who was originally a low-key Immortal Palace, famous. However, this was not a good thing. Many of the Immortal Palaces were laughing at the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace. The Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace soon had a clue. The first to be awarded were Yu Xuelian, Yao Shumi and Mu Jialan, the three women who partook. 1p aided in the compet. 1. Tian, and lastly there was a man that no one knew. He was the one who turned into Chen Xiang, and he even won 1,000,000 spiritual crystal from W.A.N. Ji Qiangjin back then. This heaven realm is very big. If you go to one of the immortal palaces, it would be better for you to buy a guided immortal tablet. This is a low-grade immortal pellet, but it has been marked with many famous immortal palaces, and when you cannot use the transmission array, it will guide you to the right place. It will only be on foot. Su Meiyao said. He had been running in one direction for more than a month, but he had not seen a single person. Now, he understood why Wu Canghong gave him that Luotian gate back then, because that thing was completely useless here. After running for several months, Chen Xiang finally saw an immortal palace in the middle of a huge lake. Qinghu Immortal Palace, not bad. Go in and have a look. It would be best if you could go to one of the more popular immortal palaces, Su Meiyao said. Most of the people in the Qinghu Immortal Palace cultivated the water attribute innate qi. Upon entering, one would be able to feel that the immortal chi absorbed by the immortal palace in the middle of the lake was also water attribute, so this was very normal. Divine Saber Immortal Palace and Snow Moon Immortal Palace have fought. It's been a long time since Heaven Realm had this sort of battle with a super immortal palace. I wonder if the men of Divine Saber Immortal Palace can beat the delicate beauties of Snow Moon Immortal Palace. Chun Xiang Paas, said by a shop that specialized in selling weapons, heard the shopkeeper and an acquaintance talk about this matter, so he walked over and interrupted. You guys don't know that the Holy Spirit rabbit blood can only be used by women. The mistress in Snow Moon Immortal Palace was originally a man, but later on she used jade rabbit blood, which would make her a woman. Chun Xiang's words attracted the attention of the people in the shop. It's true. Everyone had the heart to gossip, let alone such a big gossip. Of course it's true. Following this, Chun Xiang added details to the information Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu provided, and unceasingly talked about the things that happened between Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Frozen Moon Asgard. It was originally just Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Divine Saber Immortal Palace, but Chun Xiang felt that it would be good to bring in another Frozen Moon Asgard. He even talked about the strange poison, Shui Qing 1 later on, making Snow Moon Immortal Palace and Frozen Moon Asgard sound extremely evil. The words that came out of Chun Xiang's mouth quickly spread around the Clear Lake Immortal Palace. Soon after, there were some people who found out that it came from the old immortal kings, and confirmed that many of those were true, especially the poison. Most of the women in Snow Moon Immortal Palace had become men. Many of the men who found out about this felt a pinch in their hearts, and the men who had sex with those women felt worse than eating SHI+T, becoming a laughingstock. The reputations of the Snow Moon Immortal Palace and the Cold Moon Immortal Palace plummeted, and after investigating the source of the news, they found out that it came from a shop that sold weapons. Furthermore, that shop belonged to the Divine Saber Immortal Palace. You all can go slowly. When my dragon subduing school grows up, your immortal palaces will be reduced to this. Chun Xiang sat by the window and looked at the scenery outside. After a few days of inquiry, Chun Xiang found out that there was a newly constructed Myriad Dan Immortal Country in the Heaven Realm. This Myriad Dan Immortal Country should be an extension of the Thousand Dan Immortal Palace. We can go take a look, and maybe we'll even find out more about my young master. Su Meiyao was suddenly excited. Who is your little master? Chun Xiang asked. If he was still here now, he would have been even more powerful. He was the one who taught me alchemy, identified various medicinal herbs and poisons, and other things, but he was very low-key, and even now we still do not know his real name. His relations, HI+P with my master is very good. I think we only found out about him after we became sworn brothers. Su Meiyao said. Chun Xiang did not ask around about anything related to the ruthless devil venerable. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu did not allow him to ask about anything. He used it to buy 500,000 spiritual crystal, and it was also to prevent him from getting lost in the future. Only then did he remember that Yu Xuelian and the others had not paid the spiritual crystal for him, and with his relations, HI+P with the 3 women, 3 to 5 million spiritual crystal would definitely not be a problem, but at that time, he had actually forgotten about it. The teleportation cost is 500,000 spiritual crystal. FUCK the spiritual crystal I earned from that old granny WAN. Ji Qiangjin is gone just like that. Chun Xiang scolded in his heart as he stood inside the transmission array. He was in desperate need of spiritual crystal. The Myriad Dan Immortal Country was very far away from here, and he had to force himself to accept the 500,000 spiritual crystal. Luckily, there were more people in the teleportation gate, otherwise one of them would lose out by just activating the teleportation of the transmission array, but this kind of teleportation could rarely send one person, and normally only when there were enough people would people be able to teleport over. When the transmission array opened, a white light flashed before Chen Xiang's eyes. He originally thought that he would be able to see the bustling scene inside the Myriad Dan immortal country, but who knew that he would see a large patch of trees, and they actually appeared within the forest. This, D.A.M. And it, we missed another distance. Is the Qing Hu immortal palace that poor? They even need to eat spiritual crystal with this little energy. One of the elders started to curse, while the others started to curse at the Clear Lake Immortal Palace as well. Chen Xiang took out the pointing immortal plate. This was a square jade plate the size of a washbasin, with a golden finger array on top. It was pointing in a direction, and words, Myriad Dan Immortal Country, appeared on top of the finger array. Little brother, you actually have something like the Road Immortal Plate? I've always thought that it was useless. An old man came to Chen Xiang's side and looked at the needle, then was scolded at the distance displayed. We still have 20 days to go, the old man said angrily. Chen Xiang kept the guided immortal plate and said, 10 days is enough. With that, he immediately ran away, disappearing from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. Chen Xiang felt that since he had lost a lot of spiritual crystal, being able to teleport him to this place was already good enough, but the Tyke.0.0.ns who had entered the transmission array with him did not think so. They wished that they could return to the Clear Lake Immortal Palace and scold the person in charge of teleportation mercilessly. Chen Xiang felt that since he had lost a lot of spiritual crystal, being able to teleport him to this place was already good enough, but the Tyke OONS who had entered the transmission array with him did not think so. They wished that they could return to the Clear Lake Immortal Palace and scold the person in charge of teleportation mercilessly. This place was still considered safe. Even if there were demon beasts and the like, it would not be too strong. After all, this place was close to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, and even if there were strong beasts, they would not dare to appear here, otherwise, it would be very easy for them to be captured by the strong rankers from the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. Other than Chen Xiang who did not complain, there was one other person who did not say anything. When he appeared and knew the direction of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, he was like Chen Xiang, immediately plussing forward, and his speed seemed to be even faster than Chen Xiang's. There's a guy following you at a fast pace, but he seems to have intentionally kept a distance from you and didn't catch up to you. He was deliberately tailing you from behind. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang also realized that. He activated Heaven Tour and looked at the person behind him. He noticed that he was a very delicate and pretty man. He looked very scholarly and refined, with a light beard below his nose, and a pair of eyes as deep as the ocean. Although the clothes he was wearing weren't very luxurious, it gave people the feeling that he had a very N.O.bly temperament. This guy isn't simple, Chen Xiang said, but the person did not have any malicious intent, as though the reason he followed him was just to confirm the direction. I actually can't see through his strength, Long Shui said. Chen Xiang intentionally stopped and then took out the directing celestial plate. Looking towards the direction, the handsome man was also near to him, walking over to Chen Xiang's side and looking at it carefully. This direction is right. The Myriad Dan Immortal Country is right ahead. The man smiled at Chen Xiang. This brother, this is your first time going to Myriad Dan Immortal Country, right? Chen Xiang kept his immortal deity plate and replied with a smile. That's right, I'm worried that we'll go in the wrong direction. The handsome man said, I have been in the Myriad Dan Immortal Country for a while. I have always used the transmission array. This is the first time I am using this method to return to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. Let's go together. Chen Xiang nodded and then ran into the forest together. On the way, Chen Xiang found out that this man's name was Hifeng, but Chen Xiang felt that this was not his real name. Of course, Chen Xiang also used a fake name. Brother Yin, why are you in such a hurry to go to Myriad Dan Immortal Country? Is it also for that reason? Hifeng asked. What's that? I just want to take a look at the pills in there and find something suitable. Chen Xiang said honestly. He did not know what happened in Myriad Dan Immortal Country. He Feng was a little disappointed and said, "The immortal king of Myriad Dan Immortal Country is about to abdicate. He will pass the throne down to a prince. According to the rules of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, the new king will ascend the throne, and the gathering will be held. Of course, many of the reason why many people go to Myriad Dan Immortal Country now is to curry favor with the prince who has the hope of becoming the new king." Chen Xiang's eyes lit up and asked, "Myriad Dan Immortal Country is a great pill power. I wonder if there will be a pill refining compet. One Tian." This was what Chen Xiang was looking forward to, but it would not be easy to get. Maybe when the time came, he would even have to expose himself, but if it was a very precious herb, he would give it his all. This one is definitely there. Brother Yen, you're actually a alchemist, I really can't tell. He Feng was a little shocked, because he did not sense any aura from Chen Xiang's body. Previously, he had thought that Chen Xiang was a disciple from a famous clan, but seeing that Chen Xiang did not know about the matters of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, he did not think much of it. Chen Xiang laughed. "I learned a little. When the time comes I just want to join in the fun. What about you? You went to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country for that." He Feng shook his head. "I am from the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, and this time I was given a... When the time comes, there will definitely be a secret battle. Many people who are currently distributed among the ninth heaven are Rus. Hi+ing to Myriad Dan Immortal Country, and Brother Yen, you actually don't know about this sort of thing. Before I came here, I had already inquired about the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, and no one mentioned this matter to me." Chen Xiang frowned. He had indeed inquired about it in detail. It seems like Brother Yen is a rogue cultivator. Only some major powers know about this. He Feng suddenly realized something, but he was still surprised, because Chen Xiang was also a rancor that he could not see through. Right now, there are 7 princes in Myriad Dan Immortal Country who are all immortal kings, so these 7 are the most likely to be the princes. Right now, there are 7 princes in Myriad Dan Immortal Country who are all immortal kings, so these 7 are most likely to be the most likely. He Feng said. Chen Xiang did not expect the interior of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country to be so complicated, but he immediately thought of something, and said, "If that's the case, then the other 6 princes might join hands to deal with the 6th prince. The Thousand Dan Immortal King does not care at all. The Thousand Dan Immortal King will not appoint a successor. As long as it is a time specified by him, he will leave the Myriad Dan Immortal Country and go to a place to cultivate in seclusion. It has always been like this." He Feng sighed. "Then which prince are you from, brother He?" Chen Xiang asked again. He had already sensed that He Feng was trying to rope him in. "6th prince," He Feng said. He could already tell that Chen Xiang was a smart person and he wanted to rope Chen Xiang in. "I wonder if Brother Yen wants to follow the 6th prince?" He Feng asked. "I don't want to. I'm used to being free and unfettered. I don't want to get involved in this kind of dispute." Chen Xiang immediately rejected her. When he was at Tian, he was always in this kind of dispute, and now it was rare for him to be this free and easy. He Feng sighed lightly, then handed over a jade tablet to Chen Xiang. "If you have any ideas, take this jade tablet and go find me at the 6th prince's territory. It will be very easy to find me there. The battle for the throne won't end that soon, so if you go to the Myriad Dan Immortal Country, you'd better be careful of the 1st prince." After Chen Xiang received the jade medallion, he suddenly increased his speed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Was secretly shocked, this He Feng's strength was far stronger than he had imagined. "I'm sure of it, at least at the immortal monarch's level of strength. It's not bad that the 6th prince has such a powerful person under his command, but I don't know who the 6th prince is." Back then, I also knew a few influential figures within the myriad Dan immortal country. Su Meiyao said. Who cares? I entered to earn spiritual crystals. I don't want to get involved in this kind of nonsense. Chen Xiang put away the jade tablet. The myriad Dan immortal country was nervous right now. He felt that he should be able to find an opportunity to earn a fortune. Oh right, I remember that the immortal king in the myriad Dan immortal country all those years ago seemed to have the surname of He. Su Meiyao suddenly said. Chen Xiang said in surprise, could it be that the boy just now was a grandson? After walking out of the forest, Chen Xiang stood at the peak, looking into the distance. He could see the blurry shadows of a few large immortal palaces. Although they could be seen, they were very blurry and were very far away too. After walking out of the forest, Chen Xiang stood at the peak, looking into the distance. He could see the blurry shadows of a few large immortal palaces. Although they could be seen, they were very blurry and were very far away too. These are just the few immortal palaces outside. There are more than 100 of these in the entire myriad Dan immortal country. Chen Xiang muttered, this was the power of a immortal country, to be able to control so many huge immortal palaces, and there were many of these powers in the heaven realm. This myriad Dan immortal country should be considered to be one of the more powerful ones, able to compete with forces like the devil-suppressing divine palace and the fire divine palace. It's just that this is a relatively neutral immortal country, we rarely start a fight with others. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang came to the closest immortal palace, which was slightly smaller than the Heavenly Bull immortal palace, but he did not plan to stay there. He wanted to go to the main palace, which was also the center of power for the myriad Dan immortal country. Originally, he wanted to use the transmission array, but he didn't have any spiritual crystal left. He reckoned that he would be able to live in a room or something like that. This was the first time he was this poor. Wait until my dragon vein evolves into the level of spiritual crystal. I will be the richest person in the 9 heavens. Chen Xiang consoled himself. Chen Xiang spent 3 days and used the fastest speed to rush to the main palace of the 1000 Dan immortal palace. The walls here were not very high, and were slightly shorter than the Heavenly Bull immortal palace's 30,000-meter wall. Furthermore, the high walls here seemed to be made of wood, and had a grain of wood. 10,000 spiritual crystal. Seeing that Chen Xiang did not know the rules and did not give the spiritual crystal an appointment, a guard immediately stopped him. Chen Xiang currently did not have any spiritual crystal, but this did not mean that he was very poor. With difficulty, Chen Xiang fished out a jade tablet from the storage magic treasure. It was given to him by He Feng. When he saw the jade medallion, the guard immediately felt deep veneration for him. He hastily stepped aside to let him enter. Chen Xiang felt good inside and then swaggered in. This jade plate is really good stuff, it helped me save 10,000 spiritual crystal. Chen Xiang was secretly happy in his heart as he put away the jade tablet. Upon entering the immortal palace, Chen Xiang immediately felt that the place was much more powerful than the Heavenly Bull immortal palace, mainly because of the strength of the people inside. There were many mid to late stages immortals, and also many treasures and pills that were sold in the shop. After walking around outside for a bit, what troubled Chen Xiang the most was that he could only watch, because he did not have a spiritual crystal. Especially when he entered some of the pill stores, he wanted to try out some of the so-called famed experts who had refined some of the pills. Little scoundrel, you're being watched. Just as Chen Xiang walked out of a pill shop, Long Shui said. I didn't offend anyone. Chen Xiang had only entered the immortal palace for 4 hours, yet he had not spoken much with anyone before he was set on. Long Shui said, I thought so too, but I recognized that guy's appearance. He was previously concealed very well. I didn't even realize that he had followed me all the way from the entrance. I understand. Maybe it's because I used that jade plate. It seems that I have to quickly change my appearance. Chen Xiang continued to stroll around, but he had a goal in mind, which was to get rid of the people following him. Not long after, Chen Xiang turned into a middle-aged big man, walked past the person who was following him, and sneered in his heart. Continue to follow the illusion created by the little naughty dragon. Long Shui laughed tenderly. Let's go for a month or so, and see how long he can follow us. Chen Xiang Pas, said by many luxurious hotels and inns, and really wanted to go in and take a look. However, the spiritual crystal beside his hand couldn't even stay in the most ordinary of inns here. Let's go up to the high wall and take a look at the scenery. Chen Xiang was only strolling in the outer circle. In the center was the palace area, and there were even more innates in the vicinity. And there was even a fight that was brewing. At this time, the sky was clear and the walls were not shrouded by clouds, which allowed them to look down on the main palace. However, they could only see a small part of the palace, and it was even more blurry in the distance. Boom! Above the blue sky, a great rumbling sound could be heard. Everyone that was attacking immediately raised their heads to look at the sky, only to see a huge door appear in the sky. It's the Dragon Gate. The people from Imperial Dragon Clan are here. Long Shui said. This huge golden door was covered with carvings of all sorts of dragons. After the door was opened, a dragon's roar resounded, enveloping the entire horizon. It was extremely terrifying, as if a huge dragon was about to descend. This is the teleportation saint artifact of the Imperial Dragon Clan, named Dragon Gate. It can teleport at will through the 9 heavens. Long Shui explained. A ray of golden light shot out from the Dragon Gate, which then disappeared. Only a golden mist was left in the sky, and more than 10 golden-robed people appeared under the high wall. They were most likely the Emperor Dragon, who had just come out of the Dragon Gate. There are 2 holy dragons. The rest are all fire dragons and the like, but they all have a very strong Emperor Dragon aura. The strongest one should have the strength of a Dragon King. Long Shui said. His voice carried a burst of killing intent. Chen Xiang had rarely seen Long Shui with such killing intent. Chen Xiang asked, "Is he your enemy?" However, the moment he entered the door, he immediately rushed towards the nearest transmission array. Many people did not even see his face, and they were teleported away, probably to the central region. You are the leader of the Dragon Subduing School, and I am the very high elder of the Dragon Subduing School. How do you think we should deal with this kind of dragon? Long Shui retracted her killing intent and snorted. Chen Xiang chuckled. This will depend on whether the dragon's value is worth it to attack. If it's someone like that Prince Imperial Dragon, I think it's very necessary. Just as Chen Xiang walked down from the high wall and arrived on the ground, he felt a strong wave of the power of the Holy Dragon surging from the center of the wall, followed by a somewhat familiar aura. This is... Chen Xiang was shocked. It's the Imperial Avian race. I didn't expect the situation in the Myriad Dan immortal country to be so complicated. Long Shui said. Imperial Dragon Clan and Imperial Feather Race probably wanted to support a prince to become the new king, so they all secretly helped, so that he could have some power in the Myriad Dan immortal country. Originally, Chen Xiang did not plan to beat up such a bustling place, but he was lacking spiritual crystal S right now, and he also wanted to see if he could take out 1 or 2 dragons and refine a batch of dragon pills to satisfy his craving. Thus, after discussing with Long Shui and the others, he decided to join in the fun and see if he could find some good stuff as well. Originally, Chen Xiang did not plan to beat up such a bustling place, but he was lacking spiritual crystal S right now, and he also wanted to see if he could take out 1 or 2 dragons and refine a batch of dragon pills to satisfy his craving. Thus, after discussing with Long Shui and the others, he decided to join in the fun and see if he could find some good stuff as well. Chen Xiang, who had the idea of robbing the dead and rich, traveled a long distance inside this gigantic immortal palace, and headed to the center region to see if he could find any benefits. He felt that his time to dab oil on his feet was really great. If he did not go this time, he would definitely let down his ancestors. It seems like there isn't any great war. I've come for nothing. Chun Xiang was a little disappointed on the way back, because he saw that many people were like how they usually were. There were many empty areas in the Immortal Palace that had no people, and were places used for fighting. On the road, Chun Xiang said by many uninhabited forests, but he did not see any huge battles. It might not have started yet. This kind of compet. 1. Tian will more or less erupt into a huge battle. It's possible that Imperial Dragon Clan and Imperial Feather Race met just now and had a spar in terms of aura. Long Shui said. Outside the main palace, Chun Xiang couldn't even afford to live in a house. But now that he was in the center of the area, he realized that even if he were to sleep on the main street, he might still be driven away. This central region of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country is really powerful. I really want to pry a floor tile to sell. Chun Xiang walked on top of the floor tiles and discovered that the floor tiles were all made from a type of strange stone. There were spirit grains on them that could gather immortal qi, causing the immortal qi in the central area to be extremely dense. Without capable people, it would be difficult to get along here. Just doing anything would require a large amount of spiritual crystals. Looks like only a poor person like me would have the thought of sleeping on the streets. Chun Xiang looked at the incomparably dazzling pedestrians on the road, and sighed in his heart. Isn't there only one person sleeping on the ground in front? You can go and accompany him. Long Shui laughed. Chun Xiang looked forward and discovered that there was indeed a slovenly old man lying at the entrance of a medicine store. This old man was holding a bone that was as large as a broom in his hand, and the flesh on it had already been eaten. This kind of person was incomparably dazzling in this sort of resplendent central region. A few Sursby slightly creased their brows, but strangely, they weren't chased away. Chun Xiang walked over. He wanted to see which deity this was, so that he could sleep in this place as though he was sleeping in his own home. There was no trace of politeness in his actions. He walked over to take a closer look and was stunned for a moment. When he looked again, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. This master! Chun Xiang screamed in his heart. This old man was actually his master, Huang Jintian. It's actually this old madman. I actually didn't notice. Long Shui was also very surprised. Huang Jintian realized that a middle-aged man was staring at him and immediately raised his head and shouted, "What are you looking at? Have you never seen anyone sleeping on the streets before? Do you dare to sleep?" Chun Xiang really wanted to ruthlessly kick his feet, and then use his fastest speed to run away. Watch my feet. Thinking about that, he really did go over and kick Huang Jintian. His kick was very fast, but Huang Jintian also managed to dodge quickly, and was not hit by Chun Xiang's kick. Bastard. A gentleman doesn't even move his mouth, yet you don't even move your hands. You've even moved your feet. Huang Jintian flew into a rage. After swearing, he found out that Chun Xiang had already disappeared. Chun Xiang was already sprinting on the street like a running rabbit. He was well aware of this crazy old man's temperament. He would definitely beat him up if he got caught by him. You won't be able to escape. Huang Jintian still hadn't realized that this was Chun Xiang. He only felt that this fellow was extremely bored, coming here to provoke him to sleep on the street. What made him even angrier was that this fellow ran really fast. Just a moment ago, a group of people had been watching these two weirdos. One was a thick-skinned old man who was sleeping on the street, while the other was a bored old man who had observed this old man up close and had even kicked him. Originally, everyone thought that this kind of scene would happen. However, they didn't expect that Chun Xiang's lightning-fast treasure rush would make many people feel inferior. What was even more surprising was that the old man on the street was also very fast. As expected, There are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the central region of the myriad Dan immortal country. Seems like I'll have to have some ability if I'm bored. Otherwise, if I get caught, I'll definitely be beaten to death. Chen Xiang was not bored. He only wanted to lure Huang Jintian to a place with no one around, so he used such a method. Of course, he could send a sound transmission, but he was afraid that if this old lunatic Huang Jintian found out it was him, he would beat him up without saying a word. Finally, Chen Xiang desperately ran to the GRA. Slan far away from the crowds of people, and shouted, "Master, it's me, I'm Chen Xiang." "What? Little B, A-S-T-A-R-D, you dare to provoke me in public? Are you tired of living?" Huang Jintian suddenly shouted, increased his speed, and in the blink of an eye, caught up to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang immediately dodging the chaotic punch. "Master, why are you here? The moment I came to the heaven realm, I looked everywhere for you, but I couldn't find you no matter how hard I searched." Chen Xiang changed the topic and asked. Huang Jintian did not use this method. His punches and kicks moving out, and every strike was extremely powerful and overbearing, bringing with it a very berserk dragon power. Huang Jintian was very strong, so he could not fight him head-on. Even if he had body of heavenly sage, it was still very painful to be hit, so he could only dodge. After hitting Chen Xiang for a while, Huang Jintian was also very anxious, because he did not manage to hit Chen Xiang, and was dodged by Chen Xiang in a very strange way. Huang Jintian suddenly stopped and asked seriously, "You're also here?" Chen Xiang heaved a sigh of relief, walked over, and said, "I am here because—" Before he finished speaking, Huang Jintian had suddenly flashed behind him, and gave him a heavy punch. Chen Xiang had long prepared for this, and he had experienced Huang Jintian's moves many times before, so he anxiously used spatial teleportation to dodge. "Humph, that's too insidious. You can use this strange movement skill, stop fighting," Huang Jintian said, but Chen Xiang did not believe him, and kept her distance. Chen Xiang chuckled. "Master, I know that you want to see my strength, all of this is for my own good." Huang Jintian tidied up his hair and said, "Little brat, your wings have grown harder. What are you doing here? The situation here is very complicated." Huang Jintian said, "Let me say it first, I have heard that there will be people from the Imperial Dragon clan here, so I plan to kill 1 or 2 Emperor Dragons." Chen Xiang was surprised that his crazy master would have such a thought. "I'm here to make a fortune," Chen Xiang said with a serious face. When Huang Jintian heard that he was here to make a fortune, his eyes immediately lit up. Back when he was at Dtian, he already knew that Chen Xiang was a tyke.0.0.n that treated pills as food. When Huang Jintian heard that he was here to make a fortune, his eyes immediately lit up. Back when he was at Dtian, he already knew that Chen Xiang was a tyke.0.0.n that treated pills as food. "Master, you have been in the heaven realm for a while, you should be doing well. Can you lend me 1,000 or so spiritual crystal?" Chen Xiang rubbed his hands together. "I am currently lacking in spiritual crystal, lacking in the flow of spiritual crystal." Huang Jintian shouted, "If I had thousands of spiritual crystal to lend to you, would I even need to sleep on the streets? If you don't have spiritual crystal why would you come here? Didn't I say it already? I'm here to make a fortune." Chen Xiang was extremely disappointed. "You were just selling some pills and the spiritual crystal came. Are you really that poor?" Huang Jintian hugged his chest and said, "How many spiritual crystal on you?" "There's still 3,000 like this," Chen Xiang said. "Just this little bit, it's not even enough to fill the gaps between our teeth." Huang Jintian muttered to himself, then shouted, "Lend me 2,000, I need it urgently." After Chen Xiang haggled with him for a while, and only gave him 1,500 spiritual crystal, he also wanted to keep a little of them by his side. Moreover, he didn't believe that Huang Jintian would be so poor. Master, the fellow from Imperial Dragon Clan is here. Do you want me to borrow a green dragon demon-slain broadsword? Chen Xiang chuckled. Just give me the dragon pearls on their bodies when the time comes. Huang Jintian glared at him, curled his lips, and said, Lending me the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, don't you think my life is too long? Using a green dragon demon-slain broadsword in Heaven Realm, that's simply courting death. If Yao Tian and Mo Tian's people knew, they would definitely come to S.N.A.T.C.H. it. Imperial Dragon Clan and Divine Saber Immortal Palace also thought that this blade was theirs, and would definitely partake. 1p8. I can't use this blade. Unless I have no other choice, I must not expose myself. This Heaven Realm isn't like Dtian. Huang Jintian said. Chen Xiang nodded his head. Master, how about I go with you to kill dragons? I only want dragon pearls and dragon meat for you to eat. Huang Jintian really liked eating meat. Back then, at the bottom of the sky pit in Super Martial Profound Realm, he had often barbecued meat to eat. No, it's too dangerous to go with you. Kid, you will kill me. If you are exposed, I will be in trouble. Huang Jintian refused. Master, you really have no conscience. Just now, I gave you 1,500 spiritual crystal. Chen Xiang said snappily. If you want to kill the dragon, go. Do you think I don't know that the dragon pearl is more precious than the dragon's body? You want to take advantage of me? We'll kill each other. After Huang Jintian finished speaking, he turned around and threw it away. Chen Xiang wanted to ask some more questions, but did not give chase. I thought that Master would be able to fish up some benefits, but not only did I not manage to get anything, he even took away 1,500 spiritual crystal. Chen Xiang sighed, and then walked towards the center of the bustling area. What if he kills the dragon? That would infuriate the Imperial Dragon Clan, and we wouldn't have any dragon cores to eat. Long Shui said worriedly. My master, this old lunatic, doesn't need us to worry about him. However, if he really kills those dragons, it is indeed not a good thing. However, with my current strength, I cannot make a move as soon as possible. Chen Xiang said. He had just ascended to Heaven Realm, and would have to face those dragons head-on. He didn't know the other party's foundation, so he didn't dare to be reckless. Your master is very powerful as well. I didn't even notice that it was him. He must have undergone some changes while cultivating that Taiji dragon-suppressed kung fu. Maybe he even made some changes on his own. Long Shui said. In Long Shui's eyes, Huang Jintian had always been a mysterious person who could not be seen through. He himself was a member of the undead race, and had an endless lifespan, but Long Shui did not know how long he had lived for. He had once dominated the entire mortal realm a long time ago, and now that he was here in the Heaven Realm, he had started to have ideas about the Emperor Dragon, so he was definitely not a simple person. This central region was normal, and it didn't seem to be in chaos because of the battle for the throne. However, Chen Xiang felt that this was probably because the battle for the throne wasn't intense enough. Chen Xiang was searching for a pill shop here, wanting to see if he could find a job. He would temporarily have a place to stay, then see how the situation turned, and find a way to make a huge profit from this. Are you the pill sect? Do you have their jade token? An old man in charge of recruiting alchemists looked up and down at Chen Xiang, while Chen Xiang turned into a simple middle-aged man. This kind of appearance was indeed rather rare in the pill sect, and most of them were old men. The level of alchemist here was also around the same as Dtian's. Back then, Dtian's new division was set by the Tong Tian aristocratic family and Xing domain. It was probably based on this Heaven Realm. Of course, Chen Xiang would not mind being able to refine a high-grade ground-level pill, but he did not have the pill sect's jade tablet to prove it. I haven't taken the test yet, but I can concoct high-grade ground-level pills, Chen Xiang said. However, that would require him to duplicate a large amount of high-grade ground-level medicinal ingredients, and then refine a lot of them. It was very complicated, and he felt that, if he had the time, he might as well make higher-grade medicinal ingredients. The current creation divine liquid was extremely precious to him. Seeing the doubtful expression on the old man's face, Chen Xiang anxiously said, "I can use my own medicine to display it. If I were to go for the assessment, it will take a lot of time, and I will have to wait a bit before I take the examination, right?" Chen Xiang had already investigated on this matter. That's right. If you had just been able to refine a high-grade ground-level pellet, you would have been unable to undergo the examination within a short period of time. Furthermore, the cost would have been extremely high, as many alchemists would have been able to earn spiritual crystal before then. The old man nodded, then brought Chen Xiang inside the medicine store. Seeing Chen Xiang looking around like a country bee, begin along the way, because the interior of the shop was really big and the decorations were luxurious, Chen Xiang felt dizzy, as if he was looking at a palace. The hall that displayed the pills, for example, gave people the feeling that it was a small plaza that could accommodate tens of thousands of people. I didn't expect it to be so small from the outside, but after entering, there's still such a large space. Chen Xiang said in shock. Of course, the pill shop belongs to the large area behind this street. You must know that this pill shop is the place where the sixth prince once stayed. When the old man mentioned this matter, his face was filled with pride. The sixth prince was the strongest prince in the Myriad Dan immortal country, and was the most likely person to become the king of the immortal country. Was considering whether or not he should take out that jade tablet. In this way, he could temporarily join the sixth prince, and at the very least live a good life with him, but in the end, he decided not to rely on this relations. H.I+P. He himself walked his own path, as a dignified leader. He did not want to become a part of any faction. Was considering whether or not he should take out that jade tablet. In this way, he could temporarily join the sixth prince, and at the very least live a good life with him, but in the end, he decided not to rely on this relations. H.I+P. He himself walked his own path, as a dignified leader. He did not want to become a part of any faction. Furthermore, at this time, he was only earning a little spiritual crystal in this medicine store. It was not equivalent to joining this faction. Chen Xiang wanted to follow the old man to the pill refining room. It was a secret room built underground, and it was extremely quiet and safe there. We have a lot of alchemists. Many of their immortal pills come here to stock up. The old man brought Chen Xiang to the depths of the earth. Walking along the path, Chen Xiang suddenly saw a familiar face. It was just that this man was dressed extravagantly, releasing a kind of glaring radiance. Although he looked handsome, he did not lose out to a king. He Feng. This guy really is a grandson. Chen Xiang thought. Young master. The old man bowed his head slightly, then told He Feng that he had brought someone to take the pill refining exam. He Feng nodded his head. Then let's go quickly, we will need a large amount of pills later. After He Feng left, Chen Xiang asked in a low voice, "Uncle, who is he?" The old man immediately became respectful, and said, "The eldest son of the sixth prince, whose strength is at the late stage of immortal monarch, is one of the stronger existences among the Myriad Dan immortal country's royal grandchildren. Don't look at him like this." Chen Xiang took a deep breath and said in shock, "Demon Palace? Are there no demon lord level fellows inside? How is that possible?" The old man chuckled. "Of course there is. However, eldest young master has a very strong power that can deal with that demon king and ultimately destroy the entire demon palace. So, he's very famous." "What's his name?" Chen Xiang asked. He Feng. Chen Xiang thought that this was a fake name back then, but he never thought that it was actually real. He suddenly felt that he was just too ignorant, and it was no wonder that He Feng could see that he was a guy who didn't know anything at that time. As the eldest son of an immortal king, it's impossible for him to not have some ability. Don't be jealous of him, you're not bad either. In my heart, you're the strongest. Su Meiyao chuckled. Yes. Chen Xiang was truly surprised at He Feng's strength just now. What kind of power was this? Indeed, the heaven realm has as many powerful warriors as the clouds. Chen Xiang lamented. This era seems to be even more powerful than the one we had. Could it be that it's because Di Tian is about to be reborn? Or is it because a new 9 emperors and 5 venerables is about to appear? Bai Yu said. Arriving at the pill refining room, the old man gave Chen Xiang a pill furnace and Chen Xiang took out a portion of Relive Dan's medicinal ingredient. It was just that the quality was not very good, otherwise it would have been eaten by Long Shui long ago. Seeing this quality, the old man frowned slightly. This was because even if he were to refine it, he would be able to refine something good. If it was someone who had just become a member of the pill sect, refining it would be even more difficult. Please check. Chen Xiang said over the quality, poor quality herbs. Thinking back to when he owned a large amount of these herbs, he just did not need them now, nor did he copy them. There's no need. You can just directly refine it. Even if you fail, if your performance is not bad, we will still accept you. The old man said. If the old man was not here, Chen Xiang would have immediately used the depurification, which would have been much faster. Although the quality was not high, but in Chen Xiang's eyes, it was no problem at all. In many pill refining tians, he had long gotten used to it. From the time he was handling the medicinal ingredients and releasing the flames, the old man had been watching by the side. Seeing that Chen Xiang was very skilled and very calm, he secretly nodded his head. If he wanted to succeed, he would need to wait for a while. The old man sat on a nearby chair and waited patiently. Originally, he thought he would have to wait a long time, but he did not expect Chen Xiang to finish refining in just over an hour. I've finished refining it. Senior, please take a look. Chen Xiang stood up and opened the lid of the pill furnace. 2 pills. The old man hurriedly walked over and said in astonishment. How do you make it? Just like this, it was refined. Fire it, and then the foreseeing alchemy. Chen Xiang said simply. The old man sized up Chen Xiang from head to toe. He never thought that there would be such a talent using mediocre quality medicinal ingredients. He was able to create 2 Relive Dan-s at an extremely fast speed, and the quality was also very good. Chen Xiang had hidden a lot, otherwise he would be even more shocking. What's your name? The old man asked. Yan Fei. Chen Xiang could only use a fake name. If he used his real name, the Myriad Dan immortal country would be even more chaotic. Although he was just a small fry in the eyes of many big shots, but what he knew were the things that all the powerhouses dreamed of. If you pass, I will have someone arrange something for you. These are jade tokens for entering and exiting the Pill Emperor Hall. Someone will tell you the specifics. The old man said. After leaving the pill refining room, there was indeed a youth who came over and brought Chen Xiang out of the underground pill refining palace. They arrived at a villa above and arranged for Chen Xiang to stay there. Chen Xiang sat in the courtyard, basking in the sunlight. In the center of the courtyard, he could see a small house that could read magic, allowing him to relax. This heaven realm sky seems to be pretty blue. I wonder how Master is doing. Chen Xiang was still a little worried about the crazy old Huang Jintian, because the one Huang Jintian was going to deal with was the Emperor Dragon. As Chen Xiang was muttering to himself, a gentle and sweet voice sounded out, Master Yin, I am Little Ling. I will be your personal servant in the future. Chen Xiang turned his head over, and saw a sweet girl with a ponytail wearing a purple dress smiling sweetly at him. She was squinting her curved eyes right now. This. And there's even a personal maid gifted it to you. The treatment is too good, right? Seeing such a sweet and pretty girl, Chen Xiang praised her in his heart. My personal maid, you will follow me wherever I go, right? Chen Xiang asked. He was a little happy in his heart. After all, one person would be annoyed, although there were 3 women in the ring. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Although I am not very strong, but I understand a lot of things and should be able to help you. Xiao Ling stood behind Chen Xiang and said with a gentle smile. She's not weak. She just became an immortal with the same strength as you. Long Shui said unhappily. I never thought that they would use such a method to keep the alchemist. It's too despicable. She's not weak. She just became an immortal with the same strength as you. Long Shui said unhappily. I never thought that they would use such a method to keep the alchemist. It's too despicable. Chen Xiang agreed with her. It's indeed too despicable, but I like it. Humph, little scoundrel. Su Meiyao and Long Shui scoffed at the same time. Although I already have 2 female slaves, they are not real female slaves. This one before me. Heh heh. Chen Xiang laughed sinisterly. At this time, Xiao Ling gave Chen Xiang a beast skin. Chen Xiang opened it and saw many treaties on it. Manager Ma asked me to hand this over to you. If you think there's no problem, then sign this contract. Little Ling said. Chen Xiang looked carefully at the contents of the contract and muttered. The contract with the pill sect requires one to go to the pharmacy to gather medicinal ingredients every month to refine 500 high-grade ground-level pellet. The reward is 50,000 spiritual crystal S per month. Not bad. Chen Xiang nodded. This is the most basic requirement. If Lord Yen can concoct 100,000 high-grade ground-level pills, you will not be bound by this contract in the future. At that time, you can leave our pill shop anytime. Little Ling said. Chen Xiang still didn't quite understand and asked, Why do I have a servant? Do the other alchemists have her? As for the cost of the medicinal ingredients, one is equivalent to 50 spiritual crystal. If Lord Yen can refine 1 or 2 of the medicinal ingredients, that would be 800 spiritual crystal, and 500 spiritual crystal per month. Then at the very least, we would be able to earn 150,000 spiritual crystal. The contract says that it's 100,000 spiritual crystal, so you can make a lot of spiritual crystal for us. The others don't have personal maidservants. Senior Yen was chosen by Manager Ma, so he might want to focus on cultivating you. Chen Xiang rubbed his chin and asked, I can only earn 30 or 40 million spiritual crystal for you guys. In your opinion, it shouldn't be much. Chen Xiang was still considering whether he should sign this contract and refine 100,000 pills to get rid of this contract. Sign it. From now on, you don't need to refine it yourself. Just hand in 500 pills every month, and it will be no big deal. Su Meiyao said. Right now, you need this place to understand the situation here. Furthermore, this little girl is not bad. When the time comes, we can take her away. At that time, if Lord Yen wants to bring me away, he can help me redeem myself. Little Ling stuck out her tongue. How much? Chen Xiang asked. 10 million spiritual crystal. Little Ling laughed and said, I'm quite expensive, am I not? Chen Xiang signed the contract with blood dripping onto the table. He paused, set it to Xiao Ling and said, We'll talk about it at that time. This medicine store was extremely large and had a large amount of medicinal ingredient. To him, 500 pills per month was a small matter. He felt that he could settle this in a few days and save a lot of medicinal ingredients for himself. I'll pass it to Manager Ma. Please wait a moment, I'll be back soon. Little Ling disappeared in the blink of an eye. Her speed was extremely fast. Tens of millions of spiritual crystal can be considered a large number here, and only a few immortal kings can afford that. In the long run, they really think that you can make a huge profit for them. Su Meiyao said. Of course Chen Xiang knew, but it didn't matter to him now. He just wanted a place to settle down, and then he would wait for the chance to earn some money. Manager Ma was the old man. When he saw that Chen Xiang had signed the contract, he laughed. Xiao Ling, he will be your master from now on. Serving him well, His future is limitless. Little Ling nodded and said, Little Ling knows. Chen Xiang laid on the sleeping chair in the courtyard lazily. He did not want to move the slightest bit right now. Little Ling came back and stood behind him without saying a word. Little Ling, this medicine store doesn't seem to have a name, why is it like this? Chen Xiang asked. I heard that it was because I still don't know who the sixth prince is planning to give over the pill shop to. The sixth prince has 7 children, but now the eldest young master is in charge. Little Ling said. How long have you been here? Chen Xiang was very curious. Although Xiao Ling looked like a girl, but she was actually an immortal. However, she was only worth millions of spiritual crystal. It's been 16 years. I was born here, but my natural talent is good, so I could become an immortal. However, that's all I can do. Although Xiao Ling always had the sweet smile of a professional on her face, there was a trace of sadness on her face. Chen Xiang had thought it was weird that such a good seedling would be used as a servant to serve him. There must be something fishy about it. He was forced to break through using a secret technique. This kind of thing is very normal. Many big forces train slaves like this. However, these people are all homeless orphans. Being able to do this is a pretty good fate for them. Su Meiyao said. Can you show me your body? Chen Xiang asked. This. Sure. Little Ling's face slightly blushed, and then she started to take off her clothes. Chen Xiang anxiously shouted. Don't move, we're not looking at this. Looking at the situation in your body, I want to see why you can't improve anymore. Now, Chen Xiang finally understood what a real female slave meant. Get dressed and stand in front of me. Chen Xiang got up from the couch and placed his palm on Xiao Ling's abdomen. He wanted to see how much damage that technique would cause to her. After a moment, Chen Xiang frowned. What's with the heaven pellet? Before Little Ling had even cultivated in Nirvana Doom, when I was still in the extreme realm, I had already been embedded with a heavenly pellet. After that, adding on some other secret techniques, I could perfectly fuse with the heavenly pellet, learn how to control the powers within it, and then become an immortal. Little Ling slightly smiled, but her smile was a little forced. Chen Xiang had already seen the pain she had to endure at that time, even though it could make her very strong. If something goes wrong, you'll definitely die. Chen Xiang said with slight anger in his heart. Yes, only I can survive in the same group as me. Little Ling slightly lowered her head, the sweet smile on her face had already disappeared. She also had feelings for them. The companions that she grew up with had all died at that time. The fatherless her was the closest companion. Long Shui said, It's very difficult for her to grow again, the heaven pellet was not cultivated by herself, these people really aren't things. I don't blame them, because without them, we would have already died. Little Ling said. However, it cannot be denied that what they did was inappropriate. They allowed your lives to continue, yet they were tormenting your lives. At that time, if you all had a choice, you all would have chosen that road. Chen Xiang sighed. I don't know, but we've all enjoyed life because of this. Life was bestowed by them, so it's only right that they take it back. Xiao Ling did not expect her master to be so conflicted over such a matter, she did not understand. Chen Xiang sighed helplessly and said, Come out for a walk with me, it's the first time coming to this kind of place, you should be familiar with this place. Yes. Ling nodded and didn't ask any more heavy questions. She immediately revealed a sweet smile. Now, Chen Xiang already knew that the sixth prince and He Feng were definitely not good people, they just looked good on the surface. Chen Xiang brought Little Ling out of this pill shop and onto the street. When he came out, he discovered that there were a few alchemists with similar servants by their side, but most of them were young and delicate. Chen Xiang brought Little Ling out of this pill shop and onto the street. When he came out, he discovered that there were a few alchemists with similar servants by their side, but most of them were young and delicate. Xiao Ling, why are all the servants beside the other alchemist men, while you are female. There aren't many cute and beautiful girls like you, right? Chen Xiang was walking on the road, with Xiao Ling following closely behind him. Little Ling said in a low voice, Master Yen, in fact. The other alchemists do not want me, they think me to be a little girl and can't help them much, but they need a very capable assistant when they are refining pills, that way they can refine the pills quickly and save a lot of trouble. Just call me Big Brother. Chen Xiang laughed. Those alchemists are too useless, they also need other people's help in pill refining. Xiao Ling was a little surprised and said, For the past 2 years, Manager Ma had pushed me onto a dozen or so alchemists, but those alchemists had immediately let me go. It's useless to say me out. Ignore them. They are useless. To think that they would want the help of someone else for their pill forging. It is just a small matter. Chen Xiang was extremely disdainful. In his opinion, for such a good girl to be looked down upon, those people must be blind. Big Brother Yen, where are you going? Don't you want to concoct pills? Little Ling asked. In her eyes, many alchemists were very busy, they would need to spend at least half of the day concocting pills. This was because she had heard from the young servants that they were very tired after all the hard work they did with the alchemists. What's the hurry? We'll talk about it at the end of the month. When Chen Xiang came out, Manager Ma had given him 50,000 spiritual crystal. Xiao Ling, where are the alchemists located? In the central region, it would be best if we could see some high-level alchemists sparring. This was the Myriad Dan immortal country. Although Chen Xiang could see quite a few alchemists south on the road, most of them were not that good. He wanted to see those with better standards. Myriad Dan building, I will bring you there right away. Inside, there are many Dan King that compete in pill refining all day, it's very lively. Manager Ma once brought me there. Little Ling smiled sweetly. Chen Xiang followed Xiao Ling to the Myriad Dan building. This Myriad Dan building only had 5 floors, but every floor was as big as a plaza. Upon entering, he saw that there were many people in the S.P.A. Sias Hall. The medicinal fragrance was also very rich and had all kinds of medicinal fragrance. So many people, what are they doing? Chen Xiang saw that there were a lot of people gathered around. They are all watching others refine pills. There are many famous alchemists here, and they will often be refining pills in public for others to see. Xiao Ling replied, This is the first floor, which is of the lowest grade, the highest being the 4th, and the 5th floor is the territory of the Dan King. Furthermore, ordinary people cannot go there. Chen Xiang could smell the scent of the medicine, and knew what kind of pills the majority of the people here were. What's that? Chen Xiang saw a counter. There was an old man there, people would go over from time to time. Some people who have their own ingredients and need the alchemist to refine them would come here to look for famous alchemists. Many of them are of decent standard, but they lack practice or are all alchemists who want to show off their skills in refining pills. Is anyone allowed to go and get it? Chen Xiang asked again. No, only the famous alchemist can receive it, and only after refining it will you get paid. Little Ling shook her head. Chen Xiang and Xiao Ling arrived at the 3rd floor in one breath. There were quite a few people here who were concocting high-quality pills of the ground level. Coming here, Xiao Ling seemed to have seen someone she recognized, and quickly hid behind Chen Xiang, afraid that he would be recognized. Isn't she the little girl from the 6th shop? She actually has an owner. A young man dressed in red walked over and looked at Little Ling evilly. The young man also had a follower behind him. One of them was a middle-aged man with strong cultivation, late period of human immortal, and the other 2 were young servants. Chen Xiang pulled Xiao Ling towards the alchemist who was refining pills. There were fewer people watching, and there was no need to squeeze in. Oh? This little girl's master is not bad, huh? She can actually be so calm. The red-clothed youth teased and actually followed him. Big Brother Yen, That's why he was so jealous of me the other time. He's one of the first prince's sons, a grandson of the king, and his name is He Hong. You should hurry back to the shop. Xiao Ling told Chen Xiang through sound transmission. No, just ignore him. What bullsh *TW. G son. Chen Xiang was not afraid. The son of Dragon Emperor was still eaten by him. He was afraid of this guy. Chen Xiang came to the side of the stall that was refining pills, and many people surrounded and watched quietly. Xiao Ling said in a low voice, "This is Elder Uncle Li. He has great achievements in refining high-grade ground-level pills. When we competed to refine high-grade ground-level pills, he took first place before. Once the He Hong came, the others all made way for him. This was Ang son, who always wore red clothes, and was a regular customer of the Myriad Dan building. He always made the alchemist in his shop come here and gamble with others. He always made them lose miserably, so many of them always hid far away when they saw that they had lost. The He Hong had come, but Chen Xiang did not even move his head a bit. He did not even look at him, but only held on to Xiao Ling's hand, and watched the elder Uncle Li concoct pills. Why is it that there are so few people who are looking at elder Uncle Li refining pills? There should be a lot of them, right? Chen Xiang asked. The other alchemists were all surrounded, but this elder Uncle Li, who had such powerful pill refining skills, was not surrounded by many. Elder Uncle Li had a head full of white hair. His beard and eyebrows were completely white, but his face did not have any wrinkles, and he did not look very old. Because he sometimes doesn't concoct pills, but sleep. His pill furnace is very strange and doesn't emit any heat. That's why it's hard to see what happens when he concocts pills. Maybe he's sleeping right now. The He Hong was also by the side, giving her a lot of pressure. She was worried that she would cause trouble for Chen Xiang. The elder Uncle Li had his eyes closed as he sat on the ground with his legs crossed, breathing slowly. He really did look like he was sleeping, and if he was observing from the sidelines for a day or two and discovered that he was sleeping instead of concocting pills, it would definitely be very deceptive. Little girl, this is your new master. Since old man Ma has arranged a personal maid for him, it seems that his pill refining level is not bad, right? This is a alchemist who just joined the sixth shop. I really want to see how he is. The He Hong's words attracted a few people. The sixth shop was the one that Chen Xiang had just joined. Because it was owned by the sixth prince and had no name, it was named after him. Many people here knew that for the alchemist in the number 6 shop, having a servant meant that they were valued highly. To be able to bring great benefits to the number 6 shop, it was a very good alchemist. Although Chen Xiang heard the He Hong's words, he did not pay any attention to it. He focused on the elder Uncle Li's pill furnace. The furnace was truly powerful. At the beginning he thought that the elder Uncle Li was just lying down, but upon closer inspection, he realized that he was really concocting pills. Although Chen Xiang heard the He Hong's words, he did not pay any attention to it. He focused on the elder Uncle Li's pill furnace. The furnace was truly powerful. At the beginning he thought that the elder Uncle Li was just lying down, but upon closer inspection, he realized that he was really concocting pills. But the condition of the elder Uncle Li was very strange. It was like he was in a half-asleep state. If he could concoct pills in this state, it would be too amazing. Sister Meiyao, do you recognize this pill furnace? Chen Xiang asked. This kind of pill furnace should have some background. I don't know him, but this old man is very powerful. He's not an ordinary alchemist. Su Meiyao also noticed it. It's about to form the core. Chen Xiang felt a weak change in the pill furnace and thought. Xiao Ling did not bother with the He Hong, as Chen Xiang had told her to ignore him. At the moment, she was still nervous as she held Chen Xiang's big hand tightly and looked at the elder Uncle Li that seemed to be dead. Little girl, didn't you and your master hear what I said? The He Hong frowned slightly. There was actually someone who looked down on him. Even if the sixth shop's manager Ma came, he would have to smile at him. Chen Xiang was currently frowning as he looked at the elder Uncle Li earnestly. He casually replied, "I heard." The He Hong was a little angry because Chen Xiang didn't even look at him. "What are you pretending for? Are you afraid? You purposely looked at the old sleeping bug concocting pills and pretended that you could see something. It seems like you are trying to escape. The alchemist that was just hired by number 6 shop is only mediocre." The He Hong sneered. "Say what you like. However, Elder Uncle Li is indeed powerful. He was almost able to condense the pill successfully, but I wonder what pill he is refining. It is not something that is commonly seen." Chen Xiang muttered, making some people confused, because after looking at it for a long time, he still could not see through it. Acting arrogantly. Just as the He Hong finished speaking, the elder Uncle Li opened his eyes and opened the lid of the pill furnace. Just as the lid was slightly ajar, the red light shot out and disappeared. "I failed." Elder Uncle Li sighed. Everyone was shocked because what Chen Xiang said was true, but Elder Uncle Li did not succeed in concocting the core, causing the people around him to be respectful towards him. Someone who could see through the mysteries of Elder Uncle Li must also be very powerful. "Elder Uncle Li, what pill is this?" an old man asked. Although he looked older than Elder Uncle Li, he still addressed him like that. The elder Uncle Li swept his gaze across the crowd. At this time, there were more and more people here, partly because the He Hong was challenging them, and partly because Elder Uncle Li was asleep for a few days. Finally, he opened the lid of the pill furnace. "Guess." Elder Uncle Li laughed out loud. "Guess your head. If I knew, would I even need to ask you?" The old man immediately said. Although he was usually arrogant, he was not stupid. He knew that the elder Uncle Li was very powerful and that his first shop wanted to win over the elder Uncle Li, but it was to no avail. However, he still wanted to continue challenging Chen Xiang so he could see what level the new alchemist at the 6th shop had reached. "It's the Heaven Blood Pill," Chen Xiang said. "But you could tell from what happened just now. Have you ever refined one before? Or have you seen someone refine one, or have you heard of one?" Elder Uncle Li looked at Chen Xiang in shock. The others were puzzled, and the He Hong did the same. He quickly took out a jade and called down their number 1 shop's alchemist from the 4th floor's 5th floor. The name Heaven Blood Pill was easy to understand. It should be related to blood, but many people had never heard of it. If Su Meiyao had not said so, Chen Xiang himself would not know what pill this elder Uncle Li was refining just now. Chen Xiang smiled slightly. "I have only heard that there is a type of pill that would cause blood light to soar into the sky after condensing a pill. Its main function is to produce a very powerful blood, so it should be considered a middle-grade heaven-level pill." Everyone was stunned. Elder Uncle Li was actually refining a middle-grade heaven-level pill, then he should have rolled to the 4th and 5th floor. That was a place for him to stay. "Do you still have any medicinal materials for the Heaven Blood Pill?" the He Hong quickly asked. "I am willing to buy it at a high price." "No more." Then, he threw a large pile of medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace, closed the lid and continued to concoct pills with his eyes closed. At this time, a few old men came to the He Hong's side. They were all from Alchemist, and came down from the 4th floor to the 5th floor. One could imagine their level of alchemy. After Xiao Ling discovered this, she lightly pulled on Chen Xiang's hand, indicating him to quickly leave. Chen Xiang did not want Xiao Ling to worry either, and walked out from the crowd of people, but he was stopped by the He Hong in front of her. "Alchemist of the number 6 store, this is your first time here, right? This is your first time here. I'm sure you have some skill. If you don't make it past 1 or 2 batches, you might not be able to make it out alive," the He Hong said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. "7th young master, Big Brother Yin, is going back to rest. He joined the 6th shop today and has already made a few batches of pills. He's just out for a walk." Xiao Ling also did not wish for Chen Xiang to bet with the He Hong, because there would usually be no good results. What are you talking about? Is there anywhere to talk? The He Hong said coldly. So you're the one who opened this place. Whether or not you can speak will depend on your expression. In that case, you are the one who should decide whether or not to bet pill refining here. What else can we do? Let's go. Chen Xiang pulled Xiao Ling, and just as he took a step forward, he was stopped by the middle-aged man. If he did not have to hide here, Chen Xiang would not have such a good temper. If they were to be together, those who were intentionally blocking his way, he would definitely make them lie down. There were quite a lot of alchemists who were forced by He Hong to make a bet. Everyone was already used to this kind of thing, and it was also something many people were looking forward to. Won't you leave? Chen Xiang's tone became much colder. This little girl has talked back to me before. You can leave, but she has to stay. The He Hong glanced at Xiao Ling viciously. If you lose, don't lose anything. Just respectfully call me young master, and if I lose, you can have 100,000 spiritual crystal. Ling Chen. The He Hong said, this should be very worthwhile. The He Hong did not lack spiritual crystals, but it was very boring. Most of these young masters were like this, always looking for existence and acting tyrannically. Chen Xiang laughed coldly, not interesting at all. After all, it was just a furnace of pills. However, Chen Xiang felt that if he wanted to play with this kind of fellow, he had to play big ones and make him lose even more miserably, so that he could remember this name. Not enough. The He Hong suddenly laughed. Someone actually dares to play big with me, then you must at least see how big of a bet you have. Chen Xiang also laughed out loud. Do you dare to play with your life? Pure text online read local domain name mobile phone synchronous read please visit. Pure text online read local domain name mobile phone synchronous read please visit. He actually wanted to gamble his life. Everyone thought that Chen Xiang was joking, but it didn't seem like it. Hearing that he was going to play with his life, the He Hong could not laugh anymore. It only frowned and glared at Chen Xiang, because it really did not dare to play. Who do you think you are? What right do you have to risk your life and fight with seventh young master? With your life, are you even worthy? An old man beside the He Hong said in a hurry. Chen Xiang laughed coldly. Fine, if you want to compete with me in refining pills, then kill yourself. Your seventh young master should be very happy, because the one dying is not him, it's just a dog slave beside him. It doesn't matter how many he dies. However, she could tell from Chen Xiang's words and actions that this big brother Yen in front of her was extraordinary, to actually dare to speak to this He Hong in such a manner. At this time, the elder uncle that everyone had forgotten about suddenly spoke up. I also think gambling with one's life is more fun. If you lose, you wouldn't be afraid of losing, because you don't have your life, you wouldn't be afraid of anything. The He Hong gritted his teeth. Of course he did not dare to casually decide such a thing. Although he had many good alchemists with him, if he were to kill one of them, his father the prince would definitely punish him. If you don't dare to play, then get out of the way. Chen Xiang knew that this group of fellows would be like this. They were previously so arrogant, but now that they talked about putting their lives on the line, all of them shrunk. This is just an ordinary spar, there's no need for it to be so extreme, right? If you win, you will gain even more benefits. If you win, other people will die, but you won't be able to obtain anything of your own. The old man beside the He Hong said. Chen Xiang said, as long as I am happy, I do not wish to win anything good from you guys. He actually dared to look down on W.A.N.G. Sun. Everyone was secretly looking forward to the day when both sides would come up with something powerful. What you're saying is that you want to play big, right? Then we'll have to see what kind of bet you have. Your life isn't worth much in my eyes. Bring out some meaningful items. This was the first time the He Hong had met such a person. He could tell that Chen Xiang was very confident. You can help Xiao Ling ransom her body from the sixth shop. You should know how many spiritual crystals are needed. Chen Xiang said. 10 million spiritual crystal. The He Hong secretly took a deep breath. This was indeed too big, even if it was just 1 million spiritual crystal, for someone like him, as W. A.N.G. Sun, it was still heavy. If it was used to buy something, it would be alright, since the things they bought would work, but if they lost, it was equivalent to throwing them away. Little Ling bit her lips. Chen Xiang wanting to redeem her body moved her a lot, but she didn't think that Chen Xiang needed to spend so many spiritual crystals for her. Then you have to have at least 10 million spiritual crystal. Don't leave empty-handed. The He Hong said, but right after he finished speaking, he regretted it, because once Chen Xiang took out 10 million spiritual crystal, if he did not gamble, then others would definitely laugh at him. Everyone knew that the He Hong had no way to dismount and had kicked the metal board. That's enough. Chen Xiang took out a pearl which contained a small CLU's of red flames. Everyone's heart was thumping hard, because this was a fire soul, and although it was the lowest level red fire soul, it was still extremely precious. Someone actually used this thing to make a bet, and this made many people want to jump out and compare themselves to Chen Xiang. If it's the red fire soul, I'm afraid that even tens of millions of spiritual crystal would not be able to buy it. Elder Uncle Lee was also surprised. Someone actually threw out such a thing casually. It was very precious, although there were many people with fire soul in Heaven Realm, but very few people took it out to sell, let alone gamble. Chen Xiang did not lack fire soul. As long as the Fire Divine Palace was not destroyed, he would have a lot of opportunities in the future to get even better fire soul, and this red fire soul was nothing in his eyes. The He Hong stood there in a daze, unable to speak. He only wanted to leave this Myriad Dan building right now, because he couldn't afford to play. 10 million spiritual crystal gave him a lot of pressure. The He Hong was sweating profusely. Looking at his appearance, many people were gloating secretly in their hearts. The normally overbearing He Hong was now forced to such a state. If we bet with him, wouldn't we have millions of spiritual crystal? A gentle voice suddenly sounded. The He Hong was relieved and quickly turned to look at a middle-aged man who was slowly walking over. Late-stage immortal monarch. Long Shui said. The He Hong's face revealed a smile. Big brother, why are you here? He is the big brother of the He Hong, the eldest grandson of the immortal king of Myriad Dan Immortal Country. His name is He Tang and he is very powerful. Xiao Ling transmitted to Chen Xiang. To be able to take charge of the first shop, 10 million spiritual crystal were indeed nothing. Seeing that He Tang had arrived, a few alchemists bowed to him. Although He Tang looked like a middle-aged man, he looked very lively and lively. He looked very young, and the aura he emitted was very similar to that of He Feng from before. I also want to see how powerful the new alchemist from number 6 shop is, to actually dare to take out the fire soul to gamble. This is probably the first time in the Heaven Realm. He Tang smiled. I will decide on the rules. Chen Xiang said. No problem, please speak. He Tang was very polite. To refine a Qi Shindan, the winner will be decided in a single pot. The most pills will be produced, and the highest quality will be. The fastest is the winner. Chen Xiang said indifferently. This Qi Shindan was a middle-grade ground-level pill, and was also one of the fastest pills that he could refine. Just a middle ground level? Can it be higher? He Tang replied. It's too easy, there's no meaning. Relive Dan S. This kind of pill has the most extensive uses. It will sell the best, which is something that everyone is familiar with. When the time comes, everyone will witness the victory or defeat. Chen Xiang continued. Actually, my level is only that of a high-grade ground-level pellet. In order to be more fair during the compet. 1. Tie-in, he would use some common pill furnaces to buy 1 spiritual crystal from the counter. This would test the standards of the alchemist. He did not expect that the moment Chen Xiang joined the sixth store, he would come here to have a bet with someone, but when he heard that it was a compet 1. Tie-in to refine a relive Dan, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. He had personally seen Chen Xiang's refining level before, and it was very impressive. The relive Dan, right? This is the medicinal herb. Manager Ma hastily took out a high-quality medicine and said, "You should have the supplementary medicine. Don't lose. If you win, the sixth king might summon you." If he won 10 million spiritual crystal from store number 1, it would definitely cause quite a sensation. This was also a contest between store number 1 and number 6. Since he was not using Chen Xiang's name, Chen Xiang was not afraid of drawing attention to himself now. He felt that it would be better this way, maybe he could get closer to the imperial palace. If he could enter, maybe he could better understand the current situation. Manager Ma really wished for Chen Xiang to win. If that was the case, then it would mean that the sixth shop was stronger than the first shop, which also meant that the sixth shop could attract stronger alchemists. Manager Ma really wished for Chen Xiang to win. If that was the case, then it would mean that the sixth shop was stronger than the first shop, which also meant that the sixth shop could attract stronger alchemists. Master Yen, if you win, then Little Ling will be yours from now on. You don't need to use 10 million spiritual crystal to redeem her, I can make that decision. This will help the sixth shop vent. Manager Ma told Chen Xiang through sound transmission. Right now, the battle for the throne was a contest of strength in all aspects, and the pill shop was also more important. A small victory here could let many see the sixth prince win by a sliver, and let many know how to stand in a line. That's what you said. Alright, I will definitely win. Chen Xiang was processing the relive Dan's medicinal ingredients, white jade lotus seed, returning herb. He was extremely familiar with these herbs, and could make them very good with his eyes closed. The alchemist that He Hong He Tang had sent out came from the fourth, and fifth floor. Even though he was an old man, Chen Xiang could tell from the whispers of the surrounding people that this old man was a Dan King who could refine heaven-level pills. Grandmaster Zhong is a Dan King. He is ranked amongst the top-grade ground-level pills. Who knows how many relive Dan-s he has successfully refined. It's more than enough to defeat him. The He Hong sneered. The 2 normal pill furnaces were placed, and everyone began to inspect them. These were the rules for the compet. 1. Tie-in within the Myriad Dan building, and after there were no problems, they returned to Chen Xiang and Master Zhong. Little scoundrel, don't look down on alchemists. This place is a crouching tiger and hidden dragon. My little master had said many times before that there are many powerful alchemists hidden inside this Myriad Dan immortal country. Be careful. Although she knew that Chen Xiang would not be arrogant, she still hoped that Chen Xiang would bring out his strongest power. I know. Chen Xiang was very calm at the moment. He would always be like this during compet. 1. Tie-ins, not affecting his pill refining state because of anything else. Are you still planning to use the foreseeing alchemy? These old fellows will definitely be more proficient in using the foreseeing alchemy than you are, if they can also refine the same number and quality of relive Dan, and if the time is slightly faster than yours, you will lose. This is Heaven Realm, the other party has such confidence in winning, so they will definitely not send out ordinary alchemists. Bai Yu said. Although she did not know how to refine pills, but she did understand a lot of these things. I know what to do. Chen Xiang placed the main ingredient and the secondary ingredient into the furnace. On this point, he was slower than the other party, so some people already thought that he would lose. If it was an alchemist of the same level, time would be the key to determining the victor. He really is powerful. Chen Xiang could feel the rapid and steady change in the other party's pill furnace, and was secretly surprised. This kind of alchemist was even stronger than what he had encountered in the sacred Dan realm. Some nodded their heads in praise of Master Zhong. The furnace was operating smoothly and quickly. The fact that the main ingredients could be quickly refined showed that the pill condensation process was extremely fast and the quality was also very high. In comparison, what made people more suspicious was that the fire inside Chen Xiang's pill furnace was chaotic. It was not at the level of an alchemist that was favored by others, causing them to furrow their brows. It's just my mouth. The fire soul is ours. The He Hong laughed contemptuously. If Chen Xiang lost, the sixth shop would lose its face. One must know that there were very few matches between the prince's shops, but if they fought, one would have to have absolute confidence in winning, otherwise they would be ridiculed for a very long time by the other party. What's wrong with this guy? Just a moment ago, I thought he was very powerful, so why is there such a mess inside the pill furnace? That's right, my disciples are all better at controlling them than him. Whether he is crazy or not, with this level, he can take out the fire soul and make a bet. Is the sixth shop blind? Even an alchemist like this can have a maid. He had seen Chen Xiang refine Relivdan before, but now, Chen Xiang did not have the same level of strength as before. This made him feel that Chen Xiang was not performing well, probably because of the pressure of winning or losing. Just as everyone was discussing amongst themselves, Elder Uncle Li, who was left out by someone else, actually kept his pill furnace and squeezed into the crowd to watch. It was said that many shops had offered generous conditions to recruit him, but he did not go. Furthermore, in some of the compet tie-ins, he would often obtain a high ranking, and could be said to be one of the more authoritative figures in the Myriad Dan building. Elder Uncle Li, what do you think? One of them asked. This Elder Uncle Li was good at concocting pills, but he did not put on any airs. You're asking me who will win, right? The Elder Uncle Li asked. Yeah, from your experience, who would win? The man asked again. Elder Uncle Li frowned as he looked at Chen Xiang's pill furnace. The change inside was also beyond his expectations. Previously, when Chen Xiang could tell that he had concocted the Heaven Blood pill and also saw the activity inside his furnace, it meant that his skill was not bad. Elder Uncle Li did not believe that Chen Xiang could only reach that level. He did not answer that person, and carefully felt the changes in Chen Xiang's pill furnace. The reason why the furnace was so unstable when Chen Xiang was refining the pills was because he did not use the foreseeing alchemy but rather the God purification. He had already used his powerful God power to divide the medicinal ingredients into several areas, including a region for the supporting medicinal ingredients and a region for the other main medicinal ingredients. After dividing them, he then used the God purifications method to quickly melt the main medicinal ingredients into medicinal powder and medicine aura. In the past, when he was refining the Hunyuan Dan, he did it on top of his palm, which made it easier to control. Now that he was in the pill furnace, it was a little difficult, but this was a superior grade ground level pill, and he was very knowledgeable about the Relivdan's ingredients. The God purification was precisely to use a strong spiritual energy and an extremely strong flame to burn down the stubborn spirit within the medicinal herbs, and to refine it, one would need to use the profound and mysterious incantations contained within the heavenly alchemy in order to succeed. Weird. This little brother uses a strong flame to burn medicinal ingredients when he's refining pills. This is a taboo in refining pills. Under normal circumstances, it would have exploded a long time ago, but it's very stable. The Elder Uncle Li muttered. That's right, the hot air that Chen Xiang was giving off was like this. Normally, when he was refining pills, burning a lot of ingredients was taboo. Then we have one. The fire was so fierce from the start, the spiritual energy in the herbs will be destroyed. The He Hong was now even more confident. Looking at its excited expression, it was as if it had already obtained the fire soul. There were many people pointing fingers at them and talking about things that would affect their mood, but Chen Xiang remained unmoved. He had already entered a very stable state, and before long, he would be able to refine all of the main ingredients. There were many people pointing fingers at them and talking about things that would affect their mood, but Chen Xiang remained unmoved. He had already entered a very stable state, and before long, he would be able to refine all of the main ingredients. That fellow called Elder Uncle Li is quite powerful. He can actually sense the changes in your furnace. However, he shouldn't be able to tell what exactly happened. Su Meiyao did not expect Chen Xiang to actually use the God purification at the beginning. She now knew that the God purification could also be used this way. Although it would consume a bit more energy, it was still possible to use it to refine Relive Dan. Chen Xiang opened his eyes and looked at Master Zhong. He was very surprised, because the Master Zhong was extremely fast, and according to his estimation, maybe Master Zhong could even refine 2 Relive Dan. While concocting the pills, he was still observing his opponent, causing many people to be unable to understand what Chen Xiang was doing, and to not be alarmed at all. This old man is very powerful. I never thought that the entire refining level of the heaven realm has improved by so much over the years. Bai Yu said, maybe because of the increasing number of herbs in the past, it would take alchemist who knows how many years to refine a batch of higher-leveled pills, but now it's different. Just by using an array formation, one can quickly grow a large number of pills that have a lot of uses, like the Relive Dan, which requires even more to refine. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang closed his eyes, took in a small breath, and said to himself, I'm going to start condensing the cores. In that moment, a huge change occurred in Chen Xiang's pill furnace, because he had refined all the main ingredients at the same time, causing the pressure in the pill furnace to decrease by a lot, and the fire intensity to decrease quickly. Chen Xiang moved all the part 1. Tionide areas within the pill furnace away, allowing all the medicine aura S and medicinal powder to fuse together and release his divine power. It created an extremely strong pressure and made everything inside into a ball. How many pills can it be? Can it be 4? Su Meiyao asked. The limit for Chen Xiang to refine Relive Dan S was 3 pellets, but 4 would be extremely difficult, because there were only those that had the spirit energy needed to refine all of the herbs. If she divided the ingredients into 4 parts, it would cause the medicine aura and the medicinal powder to be insufficient, making it unable to condense the Relive Dan into a pellet. Su Meiyao was clear about this fact, but she knew that Chen Xiang would always be able to create miracles. Sure. Chen Xiang agreed, and then he split the ball of air into 4 parts. If I use the foreseeing alchemy, during the process of refinement, I will slowly consume a portion of the medicine aura, and if I use the God purification, I will cleanly refine the medicinal ingredients. The medicine aura and medicinal powders will not leak out, so condensing 4 pellets is not a problem. Chen Xiang said confidently. The change in Chen Xiang's pill furnace could be felt by everyone. The berserk fire chi that suddenly disappeared became very stable, but it was too stable. This was not a pill condensation, because when pill condensation took place, the pill furnace was the most unstable, it would produce a weak tremble. When Elder Uncle Li felt that Chen Xiang's furnace had suddenly split into 4 parts, he opened his eyes wide, but quickly returned to his original state, but his heart was still in turmoil. Just then, Master Zhong's pill furnace started shaking. Using such a low-quality furnace to refine pills, it was normal for something like this to happen in Dan King. No one was surprised by Master Zhong's pill refining speed. Right now, Master Zhong was already preparing for the pill refining process, and it wouldn't be long before he would produce one. As for Chen Xiang, he had only entered into a stable state. Everyone believed that he had only just begun stabilizing the situation inside the pill furnace. Xiao Ling watched from the side. She had a certain understanding of pill refining too. She bit her lower lip, worried that Chen Xiang would lose the fire soul. It was a very precious thing. She did not want Chen Xiang to lose the precious fire soul because of her. Just as everyone was focusing their attention on Master Zhong, unexpectedly, Chen Xiang suddenly opened his eyes, sighed, and said, "I'm done." The always calm Master Zhong was originally secretly happy in his heart, and even mocked Chen Xiang a little. But when he heard Chen Xiang's words, he immediately opened his eyes and looked at Chen Xiang. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, Chen Xiang stood up, stretched his body and said, "In the end, I still need to request for a more authoritative person to confirm the matter. I don't want others to think that I am cheating. Elder Uncle Li, what are you waiting for? Go up and take a look." A person asked. Many people could not believe that Chen Xiang had succeeded. The speed was too fast, and too sudden. Even Master Zhong would need some time to condense a pill. The He Hong stopped talking and clenched its teeth as it watched. He Tang said, "Elder Uncle Li, I'll be troubling you." Elder Uncle Li took a deep breath, looked at Chen Xiang and said, "I never thought that refining pills is not just a method." When everyone saw Elder Uncle Li say this, they knew that Chen Xiang was definitely not an ordinary fellow. He did not use any normal refining method when he was refining the pill, but other than that, was there any other method? Everyone was shocked, and if what Elder Uncle Li said was true, then Chen Xiang's refining method was different from theirs. Elder Uncle Li opened the lid of the pill furnace and a faint mist of light emitted from inside. The mist surged out and a medicinal fragrance wafted in the air. "Hi!" Chen Xiang sighed softly. Elder Uncle Li took out 4 relived Dan-s from the furnace and said, "Why are you sighing? Are you not satisfied with this result?" Looking at the 4 relived Dan in Elder Uncle Li's hands, everyone was shocked. They stared at the relived Dan in Elder Uncle Li's hands in disbelief. Impossible, this was what everyone immediately thought of, because looking at the relived Dan's medicinal ingredients, the limit was still 3 pills. Furthermore, that was something that could only be refined by the very powerful alchemist, while this simple and honest middle-aged man in front of them had 4 pills, which had already exceeded that limit, a limit that was absolutely impossible to break through. "I've lost." After the silence lasted for a while, Master Zhong sighed. His pill furnace also shook a little. Obviously, he had given up on concocting pills and had no intention of continuing. Millions of spiritual crystal, take it. If he lost, then He Tang would throw a storage bag to Chen Xiang, and leave with the He Hong with a face filled with unwillingness and doubt. Impossible, he cheated. The maximum number of pills the relived Dan's main ingredient can produce is 3. This is something the Dan Immortal told me a long time ago. It's impossible for him to produce such a pill. The He Hong shouted. He was not willing to admit defeat. Elder Uncle Li Pusset said 4 relived Dan pills to He Tang and the others, saying, "You can take a look for yourselves." Elder Uncle Li Pusset said 4 relived Dan pills to He Tang and the others, saying, "You can take a look for yourselves." There's no need to look. He Tang was very calm. Even though he was shocked, he did not suspect. The reason why 3 pellets came out is because of the conclusion given by the foreseeing alchemy, but this little brother did not use the foreseeing alchemy. I think he used the most direct and fastest way to refine the ingredients, and that can indeed reduce the loss of medicine aura. If we are serious, 4 pellets is not a problem. Elder Uncle Li said. He was also surprised in his heart. This pill refining technique must be very powerful, but he knew that it was not easy to master. "Let's go." He Tang pulled the He Hong and left. Everyone originally wanted to chat a bit more with Chen Xiang, but Ma Dong anxiously brought Chen Xiang and Xiao Ling away. "Come often when you have time." This is what the Elder Uncle Li said to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang knew that the Elder Uncle Li was a guy that hid his strength, and instantly saw through many things. "Master Yin, don't go out during this period of time. Stay here, I'll go inform the young master." Manager Ma brought Chen Xiang back to the shop and arranged for a few experts to protect Chen Xiang. "Then what about little Ling?" Chen Xiang looked at Xiao Ling and asked. "From now on, she is yours. This is her blood contract." Manager Ma threw a beast skin piece to Chen Xiang and quickly left. Chen Xiang brought little Ling back to his own house and then gave her the blood contract. He said with a smile, "From now on, you are free to go." "Thank you. Thank you, Big Brother Yen." Little Ling's eyes were red as she put away the blood contract. "I will definitely serve Big Brother Yen well from now on, for the rest of my life. Little girl, you don't have to follow me in the future. You can do whatever you want to do. It's not fun to follow me, you might even get chased down." Chen Xiang smiled as he pinched her exquisite face. "I'm not afraid." A sweet smile appeared on Xiao Ling's face again. However, this was the smile that came from her heart, not the stiff and emotionless professional smile from before. Little Ling is so brave. Chen Xiang also knew that this little girl had no relatives or reasons. He didn't want her to feel lonely, so he wouldn't reject her at the moment. "Big Brother Yen, you're really amazing. Your pill refining level is already considered very strong in Myriad Dan, Immortal Country. Even the geniuses that the princes were proud of are not as good as you," Little Ling said. "Little Ling, do you have a surname?" Chen Xiang caressed her head and asked lovingly. "Nope." Little Ling shook her head. "Then from now on, I will be surnamed Shen." Chen Xiang smiled. "Why should I be surnamed Shen? Can't I be surnamed Yen with Big Brother Yan's surname?" "You'll know in the future. Don't ask now." Chen Xiang took out a spirit fruit for her to eat. This was given to her by Long Shui, and it was rare for her to be so generous. "I'll be Shen Lingling from now on." "Big Brother Yen, are you saying that you're my big brother?" Shen Lingling was currently very happy. Although her own ident. 1. Tai was very lowly, this Big Brother Yen was very good to her. In her eyes, he was a good person. "Yes, I have 2 younger sisters. From now on, we are family," Chen Xiang said in a low voice. "Don't tell this to anyone else." Chen Xiang had treated her so well, but he just felt pity for her. Furthermore, they were fated to meet, and what he had done was very simple, to make Shen Lingling, who had lived in this cruel world since he was young, feel warmth. Seeing Shen Lingling happily dancing in the courtyard, Chen Xiang felt extremely happy in his heart. Is there any way for her to continue to raise her strength? Even though she's a worldly immortal, her foundation is very weak, and her innate qi is very weak. I guess her cultivation technique is not that good. Chen Xiang asked Long Shui and the others. If it was our previous peak strength, we might have been able to help her. But now it's very difficult. Even if we use immortal pills, we would still need high-grade ones. Su Meiyao said. Is now a dragon king, and she should have already stepped into the divine way. At that time, she will cultivate out a twin dragon pearl, and let Long Huishan give her a dragon pearl. It won't hurt Long Huishan at all, she can still condense one more dragon pearl. Long Shui said, if my cultivation is sufficient, I can give it to her. Dragon beads can be used in this way? Then wouldn't it be fine if I go kill the holy dragon now? Chen Xiang said. This won't do. Those dragon pearls are useless. First of all, it's a man, and that's a young dragon pearl. Moreover, that dragon bead would not be willing to fuse with this little girl. Only those dragon beads that it willingly gives out will be useful. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang said, after I finish what I have to do here, I will go and find Big Sis Long and help me to the end. Now that the sacred Dan realm had fused with the heaven realm, it would be much easier for Chen Xiang to find Long Huishan. Furthermore, Du Hai was also here. He hoped that he would be able to find the Dan immortal at that time. Master Yen, there's a very slovenly old man outside who wishes to meet you. He said that he and your master are friends, and that his strength is not bad at all. A guard shouted from the doorway. At first, Chen Xiang suspected who this old man was, but after he thought about it for a moment, he knew that this slovenly old man was definitely his master, Huang Jintian. Give him some clothes. Tell him to come see me after he takes a shower and changes. You have to be polite with him, Chen Xiang said. He was now a master, and the fact that he had been defeated by number 1 shop was already known to everyone. His status was incomparably respected. After Huang Jintian was cleaned up, he had a rather expert appearance. When he heard the news that came from the Myriad Dan building, he immediately guessed that it was his enchanter disciple and rushed over to eat and drink. "Little guy, you're amazing." Huang Jintian laughed out loud. If he did not see Shen Lingling here, he would definitely laugh crazily. Seeing Chen Xiang's sullen face, Huang Jintian patted his shoulder and said, "I'll be staying here for a while. I don't need you to take out anything to eat or drink. This 6th shop will definitely treat me like a lord. Don't worry, I won't take any of your 10 million spiritual crystal." Chen Xiang said, "Those 10 million spiritual crystal have helped Xiao Ling to redeem herself." Huang Jintian looked at Xiao Ling and laughed sinisterly. "You brat, there's a bunch of women waiting for you in the Human King's immortal palace." "Old Yellow, how are they now?" Chen Xiang asked anxiously. Cough cough. Little girl brought her 2 disciples with her parents, and Hua Xiangyue brought her disciple to the Hundreds of Flowers immortal country. Chen Xiang asked again, then, "Where's Dongfang Xinyue? This blacksmith girl is yours too." Huang Jintian was a little surprised. She took Dongfang Jing to other places. She said that there is a connection between that place and her Dongfang family. "Oh right, this Dongfang Jing said that she is your little sister, and you have quite a few little sisters." Huang Jintian joked. Chen Xiang glanced at Xiao Ling and said, "This is also my little sister, don't go crazy in front of her." "Oh. All right, make the arrangements. I will be by your side in the future, and also investigate the matters in the palace. There is no news from there, and it will not be easy to enter," Huang Jintian said. Although there were many people who had discussed the matter of Imperial Dragon Clan coming to the Myriad Dan immortal country, there was no important news. It was clear that they were all in the strict palace, and not a single piece of information could be spread out. Although there were many people who had discussed the matter of Imperial Dragon Clan coming to the Myriad Dan immortal country, there was no important news. It was clear that they were all in the strict palace, and not a single piece of information could be spread out. "Then you will be my personal follower from now on," Chen Xiang thought, and decided to arrange Huang Jintian like this. "Can't you be a bit more advanced?" Huang Jintian was a little unwilling. "Too high level. Others will suspect you. This is better," Chen Xiang said. Huang Jintian could only agree because he didn't need to sleep on the street all day as he ate and drank with Chen Xiang. Manager Ma returned very quickly. When he came in and saw Huang Jintian, he said, "This must be your master's friend. I don't know how to address him. Just call me Old Yellow." In order to not let others know who he was, Huang Jintian had changed his appearance slightly. He was Chen Xiang's master, had control of the Taiji dragon suppressed Kung Fu, and was a figure that many great powers paid more attention to. "Manager Ma, he's a distant relative of my master. If I let him be my follower, can I make it easier for him to enter and leave this place? Sometimes I can get him to do something for me," Chen Xiang said. Chen Xiang had done a great deed and made him look even more proud. The 6th prince had even exaggerated his good taste and recruited such a powerful alchemist. Huang Jintian also got a job here, so he was quite satisfied with being able to receive the spiritual crystal. In 2 days, the 6th prince will come over. If you perform well and get the attention of the 6th prince, maybe you will be able to enter the palace. I will give you some information. The old immortal king is about to leave Myriad Dan immortal country, and at that time, the 7 princes will engage in an intense battle. Manager Ma said in a low voice. Was of course very willing to enter the palace, and he also sent a sound transmission to Huang Jintian, telling him to do his best to enter the palace to investigate the situation and understand the strength of the Emperor Dragons. I will definitely perform well when the time comes." Chen Xiang nodded. After Manager Ma left, Huang Jintian burst out laughing. At this time, Shen Lingling ran over and asked Huang Jintian curiously what was laughing at. Little Ling, don't worry about him. There's something wrong with his head, Chen Xiang said as he pulled Shen Lingling over. He was currently considering how to make the arrangements for Shen Lingling, and when he enters the palace, he could not bring Shen Lingling in. Big Brother Yen, your alchemy skills are so strong. When the time comes, you will definitely receive important treatment from the sixth prince. Who knows, you might even be able to enter that palace, Shen Lingling said somewhat excitedly. Yes, but I can't bring you in. The inside is very dangerous, and if you accidentally anger some powerful guys inside, you will face a disaster, Chen Xiang said seriously. Shen Lingling nodded, as if she knew something as well. Then where should I go then? I'm not a girl from the sixth shop anymore. I'm not related to anyone for no reason. If Big Brother Yen isn't by my side, I don't even know where I should go to. Chen Xiang looked towards Huang Jintian and sent a sound transmission to him. Master, help me arrange this little girl. Her condition is a little special, even though she has the strength of a worldly immortal. She was raised up using a few secret techniques, which is very harmful to her. The moment Huang Jintian heard it, he immediately frowned and walked over. Little Ling, I'm going to check on your cultivation situation and stretch out my hand. When Shen Lingling saw that Huang Jintian had become so serious and not as crazy as before, she became a little fearful for him, but she still extended her hand out. As expected, these fellows really dare to use this method to cultivate their slaves. This is unforgivable. Huang Jintian said a few plain words, but you could tell that he was extremely angry. Little Ling, is this all the work of the sixth shop? Will the other forces do the same? Huang Jintian asked, his expression becoming much gentler. I heard that all the princes do it this way. Only they know how to use this kind of secret technique, Shen Lingling said in a low voice. Chen Xiang said, they need to grow a large amount of medicinal herbs, and need some stronger people to protect them, which will reduce the cost. Shen Lingling said in a low voice. I also heard that some of the people who succeeded in inserting heaven pills would also be sent to dig spiritual crystal. Huang Jintian looked at Chen Xiang and sent a sound transmission to him. I hate others treating these pitiful little imps the most. Brat, think of a way to take care of all 7 princes and bring out your ability to cause trouble at Tian's place. It's a bit difficult, so you should help me arrange it first. Chen Xiang thought for a while and decided to send Xiao Ling off right now. He felt that something big was going to happen here very soon. Master, have you heard of the Long family in the Sacred Dan realm? Chen Xiang asked. Of course I have. Little sister Xiangyue also told me that female Dragon King is your big sister. If you want to bring this little girl there, that's not a problem, but if you need some spiritual crystal, the cost of teleporting back and forth should be more than 1 million, right? That place is too far away. Chen Xiang still had 10 million spiritual crystal. He immediately took out 1 million and gave it to Huang Jintian. Come back as soon as possible and give this jade token to her. After she sees it, she knows how to take care of Xiao Ling. At first, Shen Lingling was unwilling, but after Chen Xiang tried to persuade her, he told her that he would take her to a big sister's place so that she could cultivate there and become a strong warrior in the future. Huang Jintian brought Xiao Ling and left for the Sacred Dan realm. That place was currently called the Sacred Pill Domain, and the alchemy resources there were still very abundant, especially the Sacred Dan realm on the other side, which was ruled by the 4 major clans. Huang Jintian left at noon and returned at night. The female Dragon King asked if she could help, and she knew what you are doing here. She said that she is very free right now. Huang Jintian did not actually come back empty-handed. He had brought a lot of delicious food with him. Chen Xiang could tell from the taste of the dishes that they were from the Long family's hotels. He had eaten there a few times before, but he had already guessed that Huang Jintian would be shamelessly eating special food there. There's definitely no need for her help. The fewer people here, the better, and it would affect the Imperial Dragon Clan. When the time comes, they will definitely form two forces. One is to help the sixth prince obtain the throne, and the other is to stop the sixth prince. Chen Xiang said. The Imperial Avian race is also here. This is great, I have never eaten royal bird meat before. Huang Jintian became excited, and suddenly the immortal beast meat on the table became much worse. Master, you have heard of the Imperial Feather race? Chen Xiang asked curiously. Of course I have, but Imperial Avian race has always kept a low profile, and Imperial Dragon Clan has always been like this. However, in recent years, he has become very high profile, and I don't know which side helped the sixth prince. Huang Jintian laughed. Someone's coming. Huang Jintian's body trembled. A strong guy, could it be the sixth prince? What is he doing here so late? Coming in the middle of the night really made people feel shocked. Chen Xiang could even feel He Feng's qi. Coming in the middle of the night really made people feel shocked. Chen Xiang could even feel He Feng's qi. 3 people. Manager Ma, He Feng, and the Immortal King. They should be the sixth prince. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang said to Huang Jintian, hide yourself a little, now that we are pretending to sleep, they will still need some time to come over. After a while, Steward Ma knocked on Chen Xiang's door and shouted, Master Yen, an important guest is here. Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian did not understand, a prince would always be so sneaky when he comes, so he got up to open the door. After opening the door, he saw He Feng and the Immortal King. However, this Immortal King was wearing a black mask and his appearance could not be seen. When He Feng saw Chen Xiang, he respectfully saluted and shouted, Master Yen, sorry for disturbing you. I have something important to say, please forgive me. The tall man with the mask said, Master Yen, let us cut to the chase. I can let you enter the palace, but after you enter, you must complete the mission in strict accordance to the time limit. We urgently need the relived Dan right now. If you can do it, we won't treat you unfairly. Chen Xiang pretended to think for a moment and said, If it's not a long period of time required to refine pills every day, I can. Okay, Fenger, you make the arrangement. I still have other things to do. The sixth prince then left full of energy. Young master, can I bring one of my followers in? This is a relative of my master. With his help, I think I'll be able to concoct pills faster. Chen Xiang looked at Huang Jintian, who was inside the house. Huang Jintian gave the impression that he was an honest old man, especially when he revealed that simple and honest smile. Late period of human immortal, not bad. You can follow me. He Feng nodded. Huang Jintian only had the strength of late period of human immortal, so Chen Xiang didn't really believe it. He kept having the feeling that this crazy old master of his wasn't that good, that he had to be very strong to slay a dragon. Just like this, He Feng brought them into the palace overnight. On the second day, when it was dawn, many people wanted to see him, but after knowing that they had entered the palace, they all left in disappointment. The inside of the palace was not as luxurious as Chen Xiang had imagined, but instead was extremely simple. There was a dense aura of an old man, clearly a result of the pious sage of time. Even though it was not luxurious, it gave people a solemn and grand feeling. There were countless buildings inside. Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian sat on a carriage pulled by a heavenly horse. They were called out of it after walking until dawn broke, and He Feng was the one driving the carriage. It could be seen that the inside of the palace was very complicated. Otherwise, He Feng would not have brought Chen Xiang in himself. After getting off the carriage, Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian followed He Feng into a heavily guarded villa. Eldest young master, I still have a contract with the shop. Chen Xiang said. That contract was a little troublesome. If he did not refine the relived Dan on time, he would be tortured. Destroy it yourself, you are not affected by the contract, you just need to stay here and concoct pills. I will get someone to send the relived Dan over later. He Feng pious said over the contract that he had signed to Chen Xiang. After Chen Xiang burned it down, he asked, "First young master, what do you need so many relived dans for?" "Master Yen doesn't need to know about this, I can't tell you yet." He Feng shook his head. "Currently, the relived dan outside are all very expensive, and the quality is also not good. Furthermore, we have a large number of relived dan herbs. A portion of medicinal ingredients would make 2 higher-level alchemists, with the majority of them being 1 pellet. However, Chen Xiang had 4 pellets per himself, and his speed was much faster than many alchemists. The 6th prince and the others had their eyes on Chen Xiang, the person who could make use of the medicinal ingredients and his extremely fast speed. "Don't wander around here. We need to make enough pills to get you to leave." He Feng then left, followed by 100 batches of relived dan's medicinal ingredients. Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian lived in a small hut at the bottom of the mountain. He had not started to refine pills yet and was busy processing the herbs. "Master, do you have a way to investigate the situation in the palace? Although we can enter, we've encountered many restrictions. We can't leave right now, and the palace is very large as well." Chen Xiang was being transmitted by Huang Jintian. He was worried that someone else might be eavesdropping. "It's best if we can come in. There are 2 benefits to coming in, one is that we can observe the situation from the inside, and the other is that if a fight happens here, we are very close to the battlefield, and outside it might not be easy to come in," Huang Jintian said. Of course, Long Shui was the best at investigating such things, so Chen Xiang did not need to worry. Huang Jintian was also helping Chen Xiang with the processing of the medicinal herbs, but he felt very annoyed. "Kid, let me show you something." Huang Jintian sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang, and then, he took out a little bird that looked like it was made from a transparent crystal. "Fly." Huang Jintian gently flung, and the transparent little bird flew up into the air. After flying out of the window, Chen Xiang immediately stretched his head out to take a look, but then disappeared into the sky. This little bird is a very powerful immortal equipment. Being able to be linked with my spiritual sense, I can use this little thing to check and understand the situation here. I already have a plan." Huang Jintian chuckled and transmitted to Chen Xiang. "It's just that the array of the palace is too powerful, it's very hard to fly in, but we're not afraid anymore, we're all inside." "Amazing, I'm going to start concocting pills now. Be careful, don't let anyone catch you." Chen Xiang took out the Yanlong furnace. With the help of the Yanlong furnace, he felt even more relaxed, and could quickly finish off 100 sets of medicinal ingredients. However, he would be slower because He Feng had given him 3 days' time. After Chen Xiang concocted some pills, he would go out and take a walk, as long as he did not leave the small hut. If he wanted to eat something, as long as he shouted, it would be delivered soon, so Huang Jintian was very satisfied. As he ate the precious delicacies sent by the palace, he used his lousy bird to observe the movements of the palace. Long Shui's harvest was also not small. In merely a day's time, Long Shui had already determined the number of Imperial Feather Race and Imperial Dragon Clan, and both parties were 15. What surprised Chen Xiang was that the Imperial Dragon Clan was on the side of the 6th prince, and from the looks of it, he could be considered to be on the same side as him. On the other hand, Imperial Feather Race was the eldest prince's side. There were 7 princes and 6 of them joined forces to fight against the strongest 6th prince. Furthermore, Long Shui was also observing that there were more and more strong rankers. Hi plusing over. "I saw someone I know, it's that old woman W. A.N. Ji Cheongjin again. And there's also the Hall Master of the Fire Divine Palace, D. Tian. They are actually all on the side of the 6th prince," Long Shui replied. During D. Tian's time, had always kept it in his heart that he was unable to get rid of the 2 Immortal King stage powerhouses from the Fire Divine Palace. Of course, it was impossible here now. during Di Tian's time, had always kept it in his heart that he was unable to get rid of the two Immortal King stage powerhouses from the Fire Divine Palace. Of course, it was impossible here now. Huang Jintian sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang. I saw that old woman called Wan Ji Qiangjin. When you were at Di Tian, you should have sparred with her before. Chen Xiang couldn't help but praise Huang Jintian's transparent bird for being able to see and hear so many things. Although it was a bit slower than Long Shui, it was already not bad to be able to do this much. Are they going to fight? Right here in the palace? Chen Xiang asked. If that's not the case, why did they call in such a strong rancor? Could it be that they want to suppress the other party using their aura? Who knows? But if they don't fight, then your dream of getting rich and my dream of slaying a dragon will be ruined. We have to make them fight and make them bite each other. Huang Jintian smiled and sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang had taught him all the tricks he knew, and Huang Jintian had also become proficient with them. At the same time, Chen Xiang had also thought the same way. I also want to eat royal bird meat. Grilled royal birds are very delicious. Long Shui shouted from inside the ring. On the second day, Huang Jintian and Long Shui released their vigilant voices at the same time. He Feng is bringing Wan Ji Qiangjin over. If she had not requested for it, He Feng would definitely not have brought her here. Chen Xiang had a bad premonition. He had fought with Wan Ji Qiangjin before, so he was worried that he would be recognized. He had a huge grudge with the Imperial Dragon Clan and him, so he definitely could not reveal it. Master Yen, this is one of the 20 Hall Masters of Fire Divine Palace, Senior Wan Ji. He Feng was worried that Chen Xiang did not know him, so he quickly introduced him, in order to not anger Wan Ji Qiangjin. Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian both came up to greet the old woman, but they were cursing her in their hearts. I heard that when you refined Relive Dan, you were able to produce 4 pellets in a single furnace. I wonder what method you used. Wan Ji Qiangjin asked. Felt that the situation was not good. If Wan Ji Qiangjin forced Chen Xiang to teach him the pill refining skills, even he did not know how to end this situation. This is a secret. Chen Xiang said neither humbly nor arrogantly. He would not say anything more in the area of pill refining. He Feng asked at this time, Master Yen, my father asked me to come and ask you about the progress of the pill refining now. I have already refined 80 sets of medicinal ingredients and 320 Relive Dan. I can definitely complete it by tomorrow night. Chen Xiang replied. If it was a normal alchemist, then it would take 320 sets of ingredient. Even the stronger ones would need 160 sets, and Chen Xiang was very steady. He had not failed even after concocting so many batches of ingredients, so it was the same for concocting pills. This achievement made Wan Ji Qiangjin extremely envious. I can buy your alchemy skills from the spiritual crystal or trade them for something else. Wan Ji Qiangjin did not give up. At this time, her voice became stern and released an oppressive aura, as if telling Chen Xiang that he was just a bug. Chen Xiang frowned. He Feng's forehead was also covered in sweat. Even if I die, I won't tell anyone. This is what my master told me. I'm sorry. Chen Xiang's voice sank, feeling somewhat angry. Call your master out, I want to talk to him, Wan Ji Qiangjin said in a cold voice. If he sees me, he will definitely agree to make a deal with me. Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian sneered in their hearts. With that old woman's appearance, even a drawing of a portrait hanging on the bed would be able to repel evil spirits. I'm also looking for my master. If you can find him, that's for the best. Chen Xiang said. Huang Jintian was Chen Xiang's master, but Huang Jintian knew that Chen Xiang definitely had another formidable person who could guide him in refining pills. Who is your master? Wan An. Ji Cheongjin saw that the person in front of him was extremely stubborn and was not afraid of her at all. I don't know his name either. Other than him, no one else knows either. Chen Xiang spread his hands. Where did he come from? A person immediately appeared in He Feng's mind and anxiously asked. Devil-killing summit. Chen Xiang said, this was what Su Meiyao had taught him. Hearing those three words, W-A-N. Ji Cheongjin's face changed, he became even more gloomy and cold, then turned and left. You came from the devil-killing summit? He Feng asked in surprise. No, I've never been there. My master also told me not to go there. Chen Xiang said. The master he was referring to was Su Meiyao's master back then, and although no one knew his name, he was extremely famous. Even W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin had directly left upon hearing his name. At this time, He Feng looked at Huang Jintian, who was behind Chen Xiang, and said with an astonished expression, You said that this old mister was your master's relative. What relations, Hi+P does he have with your master? Hearing He Feng's words, W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin immediately walked back and looked at him. Huang Jintian said indifferently, I am his master's cousin. I don't know how to refine pills, but I do when fighting, so don't think about it too much. Nonsense, how could he have a cousin? W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin sneered. You really are his cousin. You would be in this place. Huang Jintian said, What am I doing here? Aren't you also here? Although I am not his master, if you want to touch him, you have to pass through me first. Right now I am even more unconvinced that he is the disciple of Devil-Killing Summit. All of you must have been planning to lie to me. This brat wants to lie to me. I must capture him and bring him back for punishment. Just as W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin finished speaking, Huang Jintian gave a furious shout, and a golden multicolored light spurted out from his body. The entire villa started to tremble. Old demon girl, I'm from the Devil-Killing Summit. It's normal for me to kill you with my bare hands. I didn't want to cause any trouble, but now I can't take it anymore. Huang Jintian struck out with his palm. On the palm of his hand there was a flask. Hi+ing red Punisher word, which emitted an incomparably powerful aura. Devil Slayer palm, W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin was startled and immediately dodged, but after dodging, W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin quickly kept his distance. What's going on? The sixth prince flew over from afar. His face was still wearing the mask, and his voice was full of surprise. Chen Xiang, Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were also very shocked. Originally, they only planned to use Devil-Killing Summit to deceive that W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin, but they never thought that Huang Jintian would really use Devil-Killing Summit's ultimate skill, the demon-destroying palm. Ask this old woman. She angered us time and time again, and she even forced others to hand over their alchemy skills. Only this kind of devil likes to do things that are forbidden from doing anything. Huang Jintian said coldly. At this time, not only was the sixth prince there, a large group of people had also arrived, including Imperial Dragon Clan. At this time, the strength of this group was clear. This was something that Huang Jintian had deliberately used his demon Punisher palm to lure here. When everyone arrived at the place, Huang Jintian had already stopped his attacks. Although they could not see his demon Punisher palm, there were still many people who were familiar with the aura emitted by his palms. When everyone arrived at the place, Huang Jintian had already stopped his attacks. Although they could not see his demon Punisher palm, there were still many people who were familiar with the aura emitted by his palms. You actually dared to attack me, and even used the Devil Slayer palm. W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin was furious. If she had been hit just now, even if she did not die, she would at least lose a layer of skin. So what? I still want to kill you. Huang Jintian also glared at her. Then, he kicked W.A.N. Ji Cheongjin and the others to apologize. He just did not understand why the people of Devil Killing Summit would choose to refine pills for the sake of earning spiritual crystal, but when he saw that Huang Jintian's strength was not very strong and that Chen Xiang was only able to refine high-grade ground-level pills, he guessed that he was a disciple of the Devil Killing Summit who was scattered outside. It was possible that he was looking for the master of the Devil Killing Summit. This kind of thing happened a long time ago. People who were related to the Devil Killing Summit were all very strong, especially when it came to alchemy. There's nothing left to do here. Everyone, go back and leave. This little brother Yen is still concocting pills for me. If you stay here, you will disturb him. The sixth prince left with the rest, and didn't ask Chen Xiang about other things. After everyone had left, Chen Xiang heaved a sigh of relief and said, "This sixth prince really knows how to act like a human being. If not for this, he would have met so many powerful people." Huang Jintian's expression was a little serious as he transmitted his voice to Chen Xiang. "Tomorrow, after we hand over the last relive Dan, we will leave quickly. We cannot stay here for too long. There are a lot of enemies in Devil Killing Summit. Both you and I have been exposed." "Master, you really are someone from the Devil Killing Summit. How is it that I don't know when you joined them?" asked. The Devil Killing Summit was only what Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao had told him. He did not understand much about the Devil Killing Summit, but he knew that the Devil Killing Summit was very powerful, so he guessed that Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu came from the Devil Killing Summit. "Aren't you?" Huang Jintian asked in surprise. No, I just heard about it." After Chen Xiang finished speaking, he changed his words. "Perhaps it can be considered to be true. In short, I have some connections with the people of the Devil Killing Summit." "Nonsense, you must be. I am the Devil Killing Summits, you are my disciple, and right now you are the Devil Killing Summit." Huang Jintian patted his shoulder. "Ah. The Demon Punisher palm is so powerful that it scares that old woman's face green." Chen Xiang smiled and asked, "They were secretly communicating through sound transmission. That won't be easy to learn. I'll ask my teacher about that when I see him in the future and have him adapt it for you to learn." Huang Jintian said, "You go and concoct pills first, leave this place as soon as possible. I have mastered the strength of those fellows. Now I want to see what they want with so many relive Dan." Chen Xiang entered the secret room. As he came out with the herbs, he asked Long Shui. A group of experts had just arrived, but he couldn't see the strength of these experts. "The whole body is very strong, that's why your master chose to leave. Amongst them, there are 4 dragon kings and at least 10 immortal kings, and if we were to fight, it would be somewhat difficult to fish in troubled waters. However, we can only temporarily leave the palace." Long Shui was also shocked by the reinforcements invited by the sixth prince. A dragon king was a very strong one. "What's with the Devil Slayer palm? Is my master really from the Devil Killing Summit?" Chen Xiang said. "Of course, the Devil Slayer palm is an ultimate technique of the Devil Killing Summit. Even if there is a cultivation technique, not everyone can learn it. It is specially written by people from the Devil Killing Summit for disciples, and can be learned by people with different cultivation directions. Junior sister and I are both people of the Devil Killing Summit, and our master, the Ruthless Devil Venerable, is also from the Devil Killing Summit." Bai Yuyu said, "Devil Killing Summit is so powerful, have you guys been there yet?" Chen Xiang asked in surprise. "No, none of our masters have ever been there. Only our young masters have ever been there, and they are the ones who taught me how to refine pills," Su Meiyao said. An expert on the level of the Ruthless Devil Venerable had never been to the Devil Killing Summit before. It could be seen how powerful the experts in the Devil Killing Summit were. No wonder that group of people were panic-stricken when they heard that the people from the Devil Killing Summit were here. Chen Xiang quickly completed what He Feng had given him and finished refining all the ingredient. Just as he walked out of the pill refining room, Huang Jintian rushed over and said to him, I know what these guys are so anxious about. They are using some secret techniques to create a group of immortals. Chen Xiang immediately thought of Shun Lingling and his face darkened. This bunch of bastards. Their current technique has improved a lot. Unlike what Little Ling said, it won't fail often. Right now, their success is relatively easy, but after succeeding, they will suffer from internal and external injuries, which is why they need Relive Dan to heal them. Huang Jintian caressed the transparent little bird in his hand and continued, I used this little thing to follow that he Feng brat to see all of these. Thinking about how the Relive Dan he refined could be used to do such wicked things, Chen Xiang felt extremely angry. He no longer planned to give the Relive Dan in his hands to He Feng, since he didn't have the contract with him. What do they need so many of these people for? If the sixth prince wants to fight for the throne, he still can't rely on these immortal kings. Huang Jintian shook his head. They used a secret technique to create so many worldly immortals. They are definitely not here to fight for the throne. My guess is that they are here to mine resources. They definitely lack manpower right now. They probably found some resources to mine. They all use some youths to get them. I wonder where they got so many heaven pills. In order to get so many heaven pills, they must have to kill quite a few immortals. Could it be that they are hunting those rogue cultivators outside? Chen Xiang said angrily. Leave now, we can't help them commit crimes anymore. Huang Jintian nodded. Have you decided how to leave? If they don't let us out, we'll rush out. Although there are a lot of formations here, it's still very easy to exit from here. Chen Xiang said. Huang Jintian shook his head. Brat, use your brain. You just received a message. Someone from your devil-killing summit is looking for you. They are outside. They need us to go outside and wait for them to go out. They can talk about a place that is further from the palace. Chen Xiang had been too impulsive just now. He nodded and said, Then I'll go call He Feng over right now. Huang Jintian laughed. When the time comes, you can go out by yourself. I'm still wandering around here, you know. Chen Xiang's eyes lit up and he laughed. Master, be careful. When He Feng received the notice, he immediately rushed over, and upon knowing that Chen Xiang was about to go out, he wanted to reject at first, but when he heard that Chen Xiang wanted to see the person from Devil Killing Summit, he did not dare stop him. There was a high possibility that someone from Devil Killing Summit was looking for him, as they wanted to bring him back to Devil Killing Summit. When He Feng received the notice, he immediately rushed over, and upon knowing that Chen Xiang was about to go out, he wanted to reject at first, but when he heard that Chen Xiang wanted to see the person from Devil Killing Summit, he did not dare stop him. There was a high possibility that someone from Devil Killing Summit was looking for him, as they wanted to bring him back to Devil Killing Summit. Over the years, many experts had claimed that they were Devil Killing Summit, but most of them had never gone there, and only received guidance from the experts that came from the Devil Killing Summit. If they could return to the Devil Killing Summit, then their achievements would be even greater in the future. However, it was true that there were a lot of enemies in the Devil Killing Summit, because many people who called themselves Devil Killing Summit would often cause trouble everywhere, provoking some strong warriors or powerful forces. Over time, many great powers would target the Devil Killing Summit, and no matter who it was, as long as they were people from the Devil Killing Summit, they were enemies of the big powers. I will not return to the Devil Killing Summit for the time being. My followers will stay here. Chen Xiang said. This was what Huang Jintian had taught him. Just like last time, He Feng brought Chen Xiang out of the palace using a carriage. Although it was just He Feng, he was very strong, with enough strength to protect Chen Xiang, as long as it wasn't the immortal king. He Feng was still young, and was already at the late stage of immortal monarch. He might very well become an immortal king soon. The royal families in Myriad Dan immortal country were indeed very strong. As he sat on the carriage, Chen Xiang closed his eyes and pretended to rest. He was in the middle of thinking about how to get rid of He Feng. The person who came to find me sent me a message. He said that there are special reasons why I am not allowed to enter the immortal palace. He told me to meet him outside. Young master, you only need to wait for me at the shop, Chen Xiang said. If not for Huang Jintian remaining in the palace, this He Feng would have thought that Chen Xiang wanted to shake him off. Now, he nodded very straightforwardly as he knew that the follower beside Chen Xiang was very powerful. Arriving at the entrance of the shop, Chen Xiang anxiously rushed over to the transmission array and teleported to the exit of the Immortal Palace. After leaving the Immortal Palace, he entered the vast forest, concealing his whereabouts. Initially, there were people following him, but as soon as he exited the Immortal Palace, he was quickly left behind. After the people following Chen Xiang were thrown off, they immediately sent a message to He Feng. When He Feng realized that something was wrong, he immediately returned to the palace. Huang Jintian calculated the time, and when it was about time, he immediately hid himself. He had lived for who knows how many years. Although he was sometimes crazy, no one could do anything to him while he was playing dirty. To suddenly disappear from the palace by yourself was a very scary thing to do. If one were to hide in there recklessly, the consequences would be unimaginable, not to mention that that person was from Devil Killing Summit. Tengu had already made his move. What was terrifying was that he did not know where the two had gone. Only now did he remember that the Ling maidservant that had always been by Chen Xiang's side had already disappeared, and they could not find any trace of little Ling. This immediately made the sixth prince and the others think that this was a premeditated plan, otherwise it would not have been so rigorous. This sixth prince is really amazing. His men are everywhere and they're all looking for me. Chen Xiang hid outside for a few days, turned into a young man, and entered the main palace once again. Upon entering, he saw many people on the road who were not weak disguise themselves as regular people. That's why that crazy old master told you to leave earlier. If he stays in the palace now, it should be even more dangerous. I wonder if he can handle it. Long Shui said. I'm not worried about him. He probably won't stop until he kills 1 or 2 dragons. If Chen Xiang had not helped her, she would not have been able to escape the sixth prince's pursuit so easily. However, Huang Jintian had done it on his own. Chen Xiang then came to the central area, looked at the high walls of the palace and said, I'm here to make a fortune, how can I leave just like that? He had indeed made 100 billion spiritual crystal, but that was still too little for him. What are your plans now? Long Shui asked because he saw that Chen Xiang had come to the Myriad Dan building again. I've been looking down on that He Hong. Come here and beat him up. Chen Xiang walked into the Myriad Dan building and entered the 3rd floor. Although he lost last time, the He Hong still roamed around here looking for some soft persimmon to pinch. The elder Uncle Li was also here, and he looked like he was sleeping. When Chen Xiang arrived at the 3rd floor, he saw that elder Uncle Li's eyelids had twitched, and he was shocked in his heart. He suspected that the elder Uncle Li already knew about his arrival. The mysterious elder Uncle Li was not an ordinary person. Chen Xiang was secretly on guard. As soon as the elder Uncle Li pierced through him, he would immediately leave, and right now, 60,000 words worth of people were looking for him. Even here, there were people sent by the sixth prince. The sixth prince had obtained a genius alchemist, but this genius alchemist had been eliminated, causing the sixth prince to be mocked by the other princes. The sixth prince could now confirm that Master Yen was not with the other princes, but he had a goal to infiltrate the palace. The He Hong brought a few people and strolled around. Chen Xiang walked over and asked Long Shui at the same time, Does this kid have a immortal monarch by his side? Nope. Long Shui said. When Chen Xiang walked over, the He Hong was already staring at an old man. He saw that the old man had just finished refining a batch of pills, and walked over with a sinister smile. Old ox, your pill refining skills have improved a lot. Are you interested in competing with my first store's alchemist? When the old man heard the He Hong's voice, his thin body slightly trembled, and he said, "There's no need to compete. I definitely can't compare to the alchemist in your first shop. I just mastered refining high-grade ground-level pills not long ago." "Oh, you dare to reject me? Don't you want to stay here any longer?" The He Hong sneered. "You should be clear about the consequences if you reject me. If you lose, you wouldn't suffer any loss, right? But I don't want to compete right now." The old bull really did not want to compete. Although losing to the He Hong was nothing, he would sneer at him from time to time, which would affect things a lot. This was not just a simple sparring in pill refining techniques. The He Hong had specially tricked him. Chen Xiang walked over and shouted, "How about I compete with you?" The He Hong immediately looked at Chen Xiang, and just as he turned around, Chen Xiang flashed and appeared in front of him. Following that, Chen Xiang's fist fiercely smashed into his nose. "It's more interesting that I will compete with you in fists. It's boring to concoct pills all day long." Chen Xiang's fist had already destroyed the He Hong's nose, and right now, the entire face of the He Hong was covered in blood. Many people had wanted to beat up the He Hong for a long time, but this He Hong was the son of the first prince, so even if they scolded him in front of him, there would be serious consequences if they did it. Now, however, there was actually someone who was not afraid of death and directly punched him in the nose, causing him to bleed profusely. Many people had wanted to beat up the He Hong for a long time, but this He Hong was the son of the first prince, so even if they scolded him in front of him, there would be serious consequences if they did it. Now, however, there was actually someone who was not afraid of death and directly punched him in the nose, causing him to bleed profusely. "Kill him, dismember his body into 10,000 pieces." The He Hong covered its nose and screamed. Chen Xiang's attacks were very sudden, and no one would have thought that someone would dare attack someone in the Myriad Dan building, and that the person being attacked was even Wang's son, which was equivalent to opposing the entire royal family. The normally domineering He Hong's were even more unexpected, so his subordinates were unable to react for a moment. Chen Xiang only threw a punch and he ran down the stairs like lightning. He quickly walked out of the Myriad Dan building and blended into the crowd to change his appearance. Everyone was secretly happy that they were suddenly given the He Hong. Although it did not cause any serious injuries to the He Hong, it definitely hurt a lot just now, and the most important thing was that their face had been severely damaged. "Leaving after a single punch, you sure are damaging yourself." Long Shui laughed. "One punch is enough, this guy is just arrogant. He can give him some memory, but the father and son duo on the other hand, are all hypocrites. Truly, a vile person is much better than a hypocrite," Chen Xiang said. After the He Hong was beaten up, a few rankers of the 4th and 5th floor came over. Some of them attacked at the Myriad Dan building, but it infuriated the higher-ups of the Myriad Dan building, so they immediately sent people to look for him. Chen Xiang was far away from the Myriad Dan building, and would walk past the majestic huge door of the palace from time to time. He needed to pay attention to the movements in the palace at all times, and if there was a fight inside, he would immediately sneak in. A few days had passed, but there were still no movements from inside the palace. It was clear that the conflict between the two parties was not intense enough, and was probably just speaking out of words, and Myriad Dan Immortal Country did not announce old Wang's abdication. An emperor dragon walked out of the palace, and he even followed that He Feng. Long Shui said. When Chen Xiang got close to the entrance of the palace, Long Shui sensed the qi, and immediately told Chen Xiang. However, Chen Xiang did not see He Feng or dragon. "In the direction of the 6th shop, I reckon that they have come out to play. There are a total of 2 emperor dragons, and their strengths are around the immortal monarch," Long Shui said. Chen Xiang immediately walked towards the direction of the 6th shop. The shops around the 6th shop were all under the jurisdiction of the 6th prince. If the 6th prince were to ascend to the position, he would hand it over to He Feng. When they were nearing the sixth shop, Chen Xiang saw a hunchbacked old man. He had a messy beard on his face and his hair was very neatly combed. "Little naughty dragon, I feel that this old man is my master, what do you think?" Chen Xiang did not sense any aura from the old man's body. He should be that crazy old man. When I went to check his strength, it was the same. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang came over and patted on his shoulder. The old man immediately turned his head and inspected Chen Xiang's strength, but was unable to find anything. He immediately knew that the young man in front of him was his disciple who had disguised himself. Huang Jintian's eyes carried a smile as he sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang. "Little brat, you're quite amazing, to be able to recognize me. I recognize you even after turning into ashes. Master, weren't you in the palace? How did you get out? It took me so much effort to get in." For Huang Jintian to be able to appear on the street and even approach the sixth shop, it was obvious that he had come for those dragons. "I found a way to enter and exit freely. Now that there are 2 small dragons out, I followed them out. You will soon be able to taste the dragon meat." Huang Jintian laughed. Chen Xiang had originally planned to use some sort of poison to kill those 2 emperor dragons, but that would be a given. The difficulty would be a little high, but it would be different now. This crazy old man's grilled meat is pretty good. I wonder how he will cook the dragon meat. I really want to eat it. Long Shui said while drooling. "Do you need help?" Chen Xiang asked. "No need. Wait for me at the 20,000 pill palaces. Something big might happen tonight, we'll contact each other by secret signal." Huang Jintian said. "I want to stay as well." Chen Xiang said anxiously, if tonight was the battle for the throne, if he was not here, he would not have gotten lucky. "Idiot, of course I know you are here to make a fortune. I have calculated using the heaven extended method, the old king would abdicate tonight, and then some things would happen, the location would be around the 20th palace. After I finish off these 2 small dragons, I will go and reunite with you, and pick up the loot." Huang Jintian had the ability to foresee the future, so of course Chen Xiang believed him. After bidding farewell to Huang Jintian, he entered the transmission array and was teleported to Immortal Palace number 20 in Myriad Dan, Immortal Country. These 20 immortal palaces were very big. However, they weren't as prosperous as the main palace. Moreover, there weren't many people here, and there were very few places with houses. They were very suitable for great battles. Chen Xiang wandered around for 4 hours before he found out that there was only one area with a single person in it, and that it was far from the center. An immortal palace is as big as a continent. So this immortal palace should have a lot of MTS, PAC. Could it be that this immortal palace is used for fighting? Chen Xiang's heart was filled with suspicion. He was staying at a hotel near the transmission array. He laid on his bed and patiently waited. However, at this time, he sensed an energy fluctuation coming from the transmission array. It was a very strong aura fluctuation. This meant that someone was currently teleporting over from a very far place, and it was definitely not the Myriad Dan, Immortal Country's numerous immortal palaces. Who's coming? Chen Xiang used the Heaven Tour and allowed his divine soul to fly above the transmission array. The only person who was teleporting over was only a woman, and she was also wearing a mask and a bamboo hat. Although she was wearing a loose black robe that covered her body, Chen Xiang could tell from her footsteps that she was definitely a woman. He was not interested in the beginning, but some people made him very mysterious. This was normal, but just as he was about to put away the Heaven Tour, he discovered that the woman had left behind some signals. When she said by a wall, she gently touched it with her hand, leaving behind a very, very shallow mark. This signal is... Chen Xiang immediately jumped up from the bed. He did not think that he knew this woman, nor did he think that he would come to this place where a great battle was going to take place. It's Sister Ziqian, what is she doing here? Chen Xiang quickly left the hotel. She is currently wanted, and she is related. Many people are looking for her, and she also left a secret signal in a place like this. Could it be that she is looking for you? Bai Yuyu was also very confused. Chen Xiang walked out of the hotel, and just as he walked past the entrance, he quickly whispered to Bai Ziqian. Chen Xiang walked out of the hotel, and just as he walked past the entrance, he quickly whispered to Bai Ziqian. Sister Ziqian, I'm here. Bai Ziqian turned his head to look at Chen Xiang, and then walked over. He looked like she was very calm, but in her heart, she was very surprised that Chen Xiang would appear so quickly, as if he was waiting for her here. Chen Xiang brought her to his room. Bai Ziqian took off the mask, revealing a pair of evil and cold blue eyes. The purple-colored scorpion pattern on her forehead emitted a purple-colored, demonic glow, and from that look, one could tell that she was a very powerful witch. Sister Ziqian, long time no see. How have you been? Chen Xiang laughed. Bai Ziqian had an ice-cold expression, but when she looked at Chen Xiang, her eyes revealed a gentle light. Chen Xiang gave her a large amount of magical corruption gas and drunk G.O.D. magical poison, allowing her to handle the poison easily. This poison was something many poison masters yearned for day and night. Do you have more drunk G.O.D. magical poison? If they're gone, I'll take some time to get some for you. Chen Xiang knew that while Bai Ziqian was escaping, he would definitely run into a lot of enemies. I rarely use any strange poisons. I still have a lot of them here. You and that goblin, are they okay? Bai Ziqian asked. All good. Chen Xiang laughed. I was looking for you for a reason. I knew that you were at the main palace. I didn't expect that you would come here too, faster than me. Bai Ziqian said. How did you know I was in the main palace? I hid it well. Chen Xiang couldn't understand. I guessed. Bai Ziqian said. I want to borrow some blood from you. Since you have impenetrable, your blood should be able to cure the poison as well. How much? Chen Xiang rolled up his sleeves. Full. Bai Ziqian took out a jar and handed it over to Chen Xiang. I will not treat you unfairly. Although there was a lot of blood in that jar, Chen Xiang's recovery speed was fast, so he did not care much. Take it. Bai Ziqian looked at the jar of blood in satisfaction and handed a small box to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang opened it to see, and discovered that it was a blood-red pellet. Heaven blood pill. Chen Xiang said in shock. Eat it. Bai Ziqian had originally thought that since Chen Xiang had lost so much blood, it would probably harm his vitality. However, he still looked as fierce as ever, and she didn't know that Chen Xiang had jade dragon blood and such things. Now that all of these things had fused together, it made his physique even more terrifying, and could be said to be not a bad body. After consuming the heaven blood pill, the rate at which Chen Xiang recovered his blood became much faster, and in a short while, he was back to how he was before. Sister Ziqian, did you come here to find me? How did you know that I would definitely come here? Chen Xiang asked curiously. If nothing unexpected happens, the war for the Myriad Dan Immortal Country's throne should start here. If you are in the main palace, you will find out soon enough. With your personality, you should come here, so I came here to wait for you. Bai Ziqian said. Chen Xiang said excitedly. Sister Ziqian, then do you want to interfere in this matter? That's great. Bai Ziqian shook his head. No, I am still wanted. If my ident. 1. Tai is revealed, the first one to suffer would be me. However, I will wait here for the end of the war. As long as I don't go near the battlefield, I'll be safe. Who are the people chasing you right now? Who are the main forces? Chen Xiang knew that she would probably be hunted down a lot. She had killed an immortal king, and she had even used a strange poison. Devil-suppressing divine palace, I killed another immortal king a while ago. He belonged to devil-suppressing divine palace, it's just that they loved face and did not mention it. Bai Ziqian's words gave Chen Xiang a fright. Devil-suppressing Divine Palace was an existence that was on par with Fire Divine Palace. Don't worry, although they have the means to track me down, I'll leave soon, and won't implicate you. Just as Bai Ziqian finished speaking, her expression suddenly changed. She anxiously put on her mask and said solemnly, "The people from Devil-suppressing Divine Palace are here, I'll be leaving first." Just as Bai Ziqian walked in front of the door, a strong pressure hit him, causing him to shout out loud and pounce towards Chen Xiang. In the next moment, he grabbed onto Chen Xiang's hand and jumped up, breaking through the floor and reaching high up in the sky. A boom sounded out, and before Chen Xiang could react, he saw a few golden rays of light enter the hotel from several directions, and the entire hotel was enveloped by them. After the golden light disappeared, the hotel disappeared without a trace. There was only a deep pit there. Seeing this attack, Chen Xiang's hair immediately stood up. If Bai Ziqian had not reacted quickly, he would have been covered in wounds just now. He could tell that the people who attacked were all immortal kings, but what made him furious was that these people actually killed innocent people. It could be seen how tyrannical this devil-suppressing divine palace was. Even if it was a immortal monarch, the attack just now would have made them vaporized. It was unknown whether there were any famous disciples inside, but even if there were, this devil-suppressing divine palace was not afraid. It's the 5 immortal kings of devil-suppressing divine palace. Now, you have also been targeted by them. Bai Ziqian clenched his teeth. He then pulled Chen Xiang and flew away from the place where many people were gathered. If they were to fight, the only place left with people in the 20th palace would be destroyed. Go to the wilderness and kill them with poison. Chen Xiang replied. Anyway, you're not afraid, it's the same if a few more immortal kings die. They are all from devil-suppressing divine palace. Their methods of resisting the strange poison are very clever. If I could kill them, they wouldn't have chased me here. Bai Ziqian said. In the blink of an eye, Bai Ziqian had already brought Chen Xiang out of the wilderness, with the 5 immortal kings following closely behind. They would occasionally release a strong golden light, and along the way, they would destroy several mountain peaks. What are they tracking you for, a snout like a tengu? Chen Xiang asked. If he did not clarify this, it would be very difficult for him to get rid of these 5 immortal kings. No, I've been with them before, and they were able to release a special kind of aura which then seeped into my body, unknowingly accu. Mulating a lot of it. I can't force it out, I think there are some in your body as well. Bai Ziqian said. Sister Ziqian, you're so stupid. Sister you taught me devouring magic kung fu, so I can help you absorb all these qi, and I can get rid of them in the end. Chen Xiang said. Let's give it a try. Bai Ziqian's heart was moved. As long as that aura is condensed in my heart. Bai Ziqian pulled Chen Xiang's hand over, and pressed it on his own soft chest. Hurry, they're about to chase us. Chen Xiang subconsciously grabbed at the soft object as he shouted coldly. His body released a burst of cold energy, causing him to be shocked to the point of immediately releasing his divine power to sense the qi inside her heart. He quickly sensed that it was indeed special, but he was able to easily suck it out. Chen Xiang subconsciously grabbed at the soft object as he shouted coldly. His body released a burst of cold energy, causing him to be shocked to the point of immediately releasing his divine power to sense the qi inside her heart. He quickly sensed that it was indeed special, but he was able to easily suck it out. It's done. Chen Xiang completed it very quickly. If it wasn't for the urgent situation he was in, he would have dragged it out for a while. Although it was through his clothes, his hands still felt good. Humph! Bai Ziqian felt Chen Xiang's fingers wiggle slightly, and immediately moved his hand away. Then, he grabbed his wrist and shuttled back and forth in the forest. I shook him off. Long Shui said. However, that qi is indeed strange, even from a distance, you would still be sensed by it. If I did not help you hide, I'm afraid that you would have become the target in the future. Chen Xiang tried to force it out on the way, but it was difficult, so he was not worried. Ha ha! They split up and looked for it. Long Shui laughed. She had been using the heaven tour to observe the immortal kings. Chen Xiang said to Bai Ziqian in a low voice, Sister Ziqian, they have split up to look for us. Do you think we should kill one or two of them together to make them feel bad? Bai Ziqian stopped in her tracks. She had also sensed that no one was chasing after her, and the aura that had been gathered together had split into 5. Even if he did not use poison, in a one-on-one fight, Bai Ziqian could defeat an immortal king from the devil-suppressing divine palace. All right. Bai Ziqian pondered for a moment, then pulled Chen Xiang and ran in one direction. She seemed to be able to sense where the immortal kings were. Big Sister's strength is much stronger than the immortal kings of devil-suppressing divine palace, but devil-suppressing divine palace has their own demon chi methods, so Big Sister should be more pressured by them. You should be clear about this, wait for a moment and watch out for the opportunity to take action, secretly aiding her. Bai Ziqian said. Chen Xiang chuckled. Of course, although this kind of thing is disgraceful, I am still more willing to do it. Chen Xiang was the best at releasing hidden arrows, and he would frequently fire them, so he rarely missed out on any of them. However, Bai Ziqian did not plan to have Chen Xiang help. Chen Xiang had just ascended, and facing immortal king-level experts, he basically did not have any power to resist. Even if there was some strange poison, it would not be of much use. You wait for me here, I'll go chase after that guy myself. This should be the more powerful immortal king amongst them. Bai Ziqian threw Chen Xiang under a big tree. This huge tree was extremely big, and required dozens of people to hug it. Regardless of whether Chen Xiang agreed or not, after Bai Ziqian stuffed Chen Xiang into a tree hole, he chased after a devil-suppressing divine palace's immortal king at lightning speed. Chen Xiang had promised to help Bai Ziqian before, as he turned into a bird and flew quickly in the forest. However, his speed was not as fast as Bai Ziqian's, unless he used the spatial laws to travel through space. Which you are courting death. A loud roar came from the sky, shaking the forest and causing the leaves to dance in the air. You provoked me first. A blue light flashed in front of Bai Ziqian, not knowing what she had done. The trees within a few hundred meters of her suddenly turned into powder, and were blown away by the strong wind. The immortal king in the air released a few rays of golden light that carried the power of suppressing devils, and struck Bai Ziqian like lightning. However, the blue light that flickered on Bai Ziqian's body had a bizarre power, as it bounced off, causing the powerful suppressive devils to spread out in all directions, like countless of golden needles flying out in all directions, causing the trees that were hit to instantly turn into ashes. The battle between immortal kings is indeed fierce. I almost got into trouble. Chen Xiang was crawling on the ground now, but he had turned into a tiny bug. You deserve to die if you use the super old poison. Everyone has the responsibility to chase and kill you. The immortal king of devil-suppressing divine palace drank. Humph, then why did that fellow who died in my hands get me to hand over a poison? He should have killed me immediately. If the super old poison was in front of you guys, I'm afraid you guys would probably snatch it away like a group of hungry mad dogs. Bai Ziqian ridiculed. Nonsense, don't slander us. The immortal king bellowed and swooped down like a golden meteor, striking straight at Bai Ziqian. A very decent guy. Bai Ziqian bellowed, her body flickered with blue light as her jade fists suddenly turned purple and black. Are you going to use the magical corruption gas? Chen Xiang said in shock. He never thought that Bai Ziqian would actually be able to refine magical corruption gas into his body. He was very curious how he did it. The devil-suppressing holy power on both of his hands were extremely powerful, and when it shone on Bai Ziqian's body, it made her feel an incomparable amount of pain. However, when the demon immortal suppressing king saw the change in Bai Ziqian's expression, his heart was also shocked, but he was not afraid. Which, accept your fate. The demon-subduing immortal king laughed sinisterly, his fists suddenly glowing with a golden light, an even more powerful demonic suppressing force. Boom! 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 The ground was shaken by the strong force of the explosion, causing large cracks to appear. Strong wind swept up the broken rocks on the ground, causing large areas of land to be engulfed in black dust. In the midst of this wave of energy, Chen Xiang carefully traveled through SPAC to approach them. Haha! Your magical corruption gas is useless to me, but you have even hurt yourself. Which, I will capture you alive, and then we will convene a devil slaughter conference. The demon-suppressing immortal king laughed. The corner of Bai Ziqian's mouth had purple blood flowing out of it, his face was pale, his blue eyes had also dimmed by a lot, and his fists were covered with purplish-black blood. Even a demon king as strong as Bai Ziqian was unable to defeat them. There are already immortal kings from other devil-suppressing divine palace coming. Hurry! Long Shui urged. Chen Xiang clenched his teeth. He immediately teleported back and forth between Great Duan Kong and the demon immortal king. Who? The demon-suppressing immortal king roared. The sound was extremely furious, because half of the green blade suddenly appeared from his stomach, causing him to be extremely shocked, because there were many magical corruption gas hovering around the blade. Chen Xiang used most of his strength to pull out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword. Fortunately, the green dragon demon-slain broadsword was very sharp and had a strong defense, so it was able to pierce through the demon lord's immortal robe and break his defense. Green dragon demon-slain broadsword. He already knew who this person was, other than Chen Xiang. Who else had green dragon demon-slain broadsword s? However, he did not expect that Chen Xiang actually had such a large number of magical corruption gases, and when he stabbed him a moment ago, he had injected a lot of them. Devil-suppressing Divine Palace had wanted to capture Chen Xiang for a long time, because he could obtain the two treasures, Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword and Holy Devil-Suppressing Seal. Accept your fate. Chen Xiang laughed coldly. He waved his blade and with a swoosh, the immortal king that had been poisoned to the bone marrow was slashed all over. Accept your fate. Chen Xiang laughed coldly. He waved his blade and with a swoosh, the immortal king that had been poisoned to the bone marrow was slashed all over. The body of demon immortal suppression was still very strong. If it was anyone else, they would have already been smashed into pieces. You! Chen Xiang sensed the qi approaching him and quickly gathered his strength. He released a ball of multicolored heavenly fire and struck the demon lord's body, burning his soul away. Hurry up and leave. Bai Ziqian's injuries weren't too serious yet, so she pulled Chen Xiang and escaped once more. Even if Chen Xiang didn't appear, she could still escape. Just as they thought to themselves, the four elders suddenly appeared beside the unextinguished seven-colored heavenly fire. As they looked at the seven-colored light radiating from the heavenly fire, their expressions became extremely grim. I haven't seen this type of flame in a long time. Someone who can release this flame definitely isn't a fiendish demon. I didn't expect the witch to have such a powerful person by her side. Another immortal king has died. It seems it's time to report to the Dao Shrine. An old man said solemnly. Who the hell is it? There are only a few people that can release the seven-colored heavenly fire, so it's necessary to have the head palace master find those few guys and ask. Now 2 immortal kings have died. The Death Immortal King was a very serious matter for a superpower. Although the heaven realm was vast and had a large number of people, but there were very few immortal kings. When the devil-suppressing Divine Palace was chasing after Bai Ziqian, 2 of them had already died. Now that they had lost track of Bai Ziqian, they felt uneasy when they saw an expert who knew how to use rainbow heaven flames beside Bai Ziqian. Bai Ziqian brought Chen Xiang and flew far away in one breath, but they had not left the immortal palace yet, so it would be difficult for the demon lord to find them. Is it serious? Chen Xiang asked in concern. It's fine. It'll be fine soon. Bai Ziqian had just seen the rainbow heaven flame that Chen Xiang had released, and that had also surprised her, because people who knew how to use this kind of flame were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns in heaven realm. Chen Xiang had only just ascended. She had not expected Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao to cultivate to be so strong. Deep in the night, Chen Xiang and Bai Ziqian were in the forest, and Bai Ziqian's complexion had improved a lot. To be able to kill a devil-suppressing Divine Palace's immortal king, she felt extremely satisfied. If Chen Xiang had not suddenly appeared and stabbed the immortal king with his blade, injecting a large amount of magical corruption gas, it would not have been that easy to obtain victory. The battle for the throne is about to begin. I need to leave as soon as possible. If the devil-suppressing Divine Palace spreads the news, I'm afraid all 7 princes will search for me. Bai Ziqian said. Sister Ziqian, take care. I want to look for you in the future. I will do something big. You will leave a signal at the entrance of the Immortal Palace to contact you. Chen Xiang said. You have to be careful too. Take good care of Yu. Bai Ziqian looked at Chen Xiang gently and patted his shoulder. Take care. Bai Ziqian left for the night. He returned to the only place in the Immortal Palace that had people everywhere. If Huang Jintian wanted to kill the Emperor Dragon, he wanted to know if it was a success. In the sky, Chen Xiang had finally returned, and on the streets here, a portrait of Bai Ziqian would appear at intervals. There were still colors on it, completely imprinting her charming and seductive face down, making people somewhat captivated by her portrait. Mo Tian, the former daughter of the Bai clan's demon emperor, Bai Ziqian, was known as the Devil Scorpion Princess, and was proficient in using poison. Now, she had already used one of the super old poison S, the magical corruption gas, to kill 3 immortal kings. Chen Xiang tore a bounty and placed it into her ring. He asked in shock, Sister Yu, your father is actually a demon emperor. Others sealed it for him. He had never admitted it before. Didn't you see that it was the former demon emperor? Bai Yuyu's voice was ice-cold. It was clear that she did not have any feelings for the demon emperor's father. Sister Meiyao said that he died once in the Great War between 3 realms. Only now did Chen Xiang remember that Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao had probably experienced the Great War between 3 realms once, which was 100,000 years ago. But there's also the rumor that he survived. Ever since he died, the Bai clan in the Devil realm has declined, and my elder sister was pressed down by the demon-suppressing tablet in the Great Devil Mountains for 100,000 years. As for me, Bai Yuyu sighed softly. Chen Xiang saw the secret signal left behind by Huang Jintian, but he didn't hear any news of a royal dragon being killed in the main palace. Did my master fail? Let me look down on him for a bit. He lost such a good opportunity and still has the face to come and find me. Chen Xiang was secretly delighted. Following the signal, he arrived at a hotel. Huang Jintian disguised himself as a robust old man and stood at the door. This hotel has a backyard. It's almost time for the next one, Huang Jintian whispered to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang thought that Huang Jintian would stay here to pay, but he didn't expect that he would wait for him here to pay the bill. 2 small rooms will do. This hotel is so luxurious and expensive. Although Chen Xiang still had a lot of spiritual crystals, he would not use them carelessly. Cut the C.R. A.P. Are you asking for a beating? Huang Jintian glared at him. Chen Xiang had no choice but to rent a courtyard house. In the villa behind the hotel, there were over 1,000 spiritual crystal. Master, did you not succeed? What are you doing here if not? Chen Xiang originally thought that if Huang Jintian made a move, he would definitely succeed, but he was disappointed. Stinky brat, how do you know I didn't succeed? You actually underestimated me, master. Huang Jintian knocked his head heavily. I've asked around, but there hasn't been any news from the main palace. Two little royals secretly leaving the Dragon King's side. That's a good opportunity, and you've just missed it. Chen Xiang scratched his head and said resentfully. Little b, A-S-T, A-R-D, I have no choice but to beat you up. You underestimate me so much, but I've gone through so much trouble to capture those two little yellow dragons alive in exchange for your contempt. Huang Jintian had already rolled up his sleeve. Capture him alive. Chen Xiang shouted in shock. Huang Jintian's fist had already landed on his body. In a blink of an eye, Chen Xiang was struck by the two fists for a few hundred times, causing him to be in extreme pain. "Oh, master, I was wrong." He also wanted to tell Huang Jintian about his battle achievements. He had killed an immortal king from the devil-suppressing divine palace, but there was nothing to show off about that. Long Shui and the other two girls were even more surprised. Long Shui thought that it was already considered good that Huang Jintian had managed to get a small piece of the dragon meat, but he had actually managed to catch them alive. It's good that you know this. Although you have done many things that even I admire, but don't be too proud. I am a master no matter what I say. If I were to seriously play, the things I've done would definitely not be worse than yours. Huang Jintian withdrew his fist and laughed complacently. Then, he said sinisterly, when I kidnapped these two little emperor dragons, I even used the emperor's feather chi that only the imperial avian race had. Chen Xiang looked at Huang Jintian in shock. Sovereign. Huang Yueqi. Chen Xiang looked at Huang Jintian in shock. Sovereign. Huang Yueqi. Huang Jintian had just said that even though he had used Emperor's feather just now, Huang Jintian actually knew how to use this kind of power. Just like the dragon power, it is an aura unique to Imperial Feather Race. However, I can only use it a little. This is not as easy to learn as the dragon power, and it's not that useful. Huang Jintian said. This means that the Imperial Dragon Clan will definitely suspect the Imperial Feather Race, and this war will arrive soon. What about those two little Emperor Dragons? Chen Xiang did not have any good impression of the Imperial Dragon Clan. He had already been enemies with him before, and last time, the Dragon Emperor had even wanted to capture Xue Xianxian and the others to threaten him. I haven't killed them yet, they're all immortal monarch level. It should be called Dragon Lord. If it is killed, then their original form will appear. Their original form will be too big, and my storage magic treasure cannot fit inside, so I just knock them out and place them inside a storage magic treasure that can pretend to be alive. Huang Jintian laughed heartily. This dragon meat is probably not tasty. It might be the same as snake meat. Royal birds have wings. It should be like chicken wings or something like that. Master, what do you plan to do with those two little emperor dragons now? Chen Xiang rubbed his chin and thought. These two little emperor dragons were both immortal monarchs, so the dragon pearls must be very strong. Even if he wanted to refine them into pills, it would take a very long time. Kill them right here. When the time comes, we'll definitely lure the Imperial Dragon Clan and the sixth prince over. Huang Jintian was still a little conflicted, but the problem is how to deal with the dragon corpse. The dragon corpse are very big, it would be a waste to throw it away. Long Shui said to Chen Xiang, if you can burn them, and use your fire energy to burn the dragon corpse to a crystal, that's all pure energy, and not a lot at that. Extinguish the fire. A few things flashed through Chen Xiang's mind. He had previously told him that this extinction fire was a type of flame that only Jade Dragon could release. It was specifically used to commit suicide, so that no one could obtain the precious Jade Dragon blood. Even though your Jade Dragon blood fused with other things, it is still inside your body, so you can still use it. This kind of flame has a lot of destructive power to the dragon's body, otherwise the Jade Dragon would not have killed yourself with this kind of flame. Long Shui said, if you don't know anything, I'll teach you. This kind of flame doesn't need to be learned, it only needs to be guided. Chen Xiang put a hand on Huang Jintian's shoulder. Master, I have a way. I can use a type of flame to burn dragon corpse to crystal, then it will be easy to protect. Huang Jintian looked at Chen Xiang with wide eyes and said in shock, could it be that the fire was extinguished without a trace? After that, Huang Jintian casually touched Chen Xiang's body, and Chen Xiang laughed. No, I'm still a human. In that case, you have obtained the jade dragon blood. Both Chen Xiang and Long Shui were very surprised that Huang Jintian knew so much. Chen Xiang smiled and nodded. Good boy, this is a good thing. If it can give you an indestructible body in the future, then it will be easy. Huang Jintian looked at Chen Xiang with a gaze that made him feel like he was drinking blood. There's one more thing. I heard that in the next few days, some royal birds will be coming here to inspect the battlefield. If possible, bring them to the place where I killed the dragon. Huang Jintian laughed sinisterly. I see. Chen Xiang knew what Huang Jintian was calculating. If by chance someone from the Imperial Dragon Clan comes over and finds out that the Imperial Feather Race is also here, the Imperial Feather Race will not be able to escape. That night, Huang Jintian brought Chen Xiang to find a good place. At that time, Huang Jintian just needed to escape from the two Emperor Dragon's dragon pearls, exterminate the divine soul, and then chop off the head. You have to watch out for the time to lure those fellows from the Imperial Avian race over here. When that time comes, you'll have to leave the Imperial Avian race to me, and then you can come and burn the dragon's body. You have to leave before the Imperial Dragon Clan and the sixth prince arrive. Huang Jintian said in a serious tone. If the group of immortal kings were to come, it would be very difficult to escape. After confirming the location, Chen Xiang and Huang Jintian returned, waiting for the Imperial Feather Race to come over. At this time, the main palace had already sent out news regarding the search, and they had received a lot of rewards. The 20 million spiritual crystal were both used to search for the two royal dragons that were kidnapped. Could not help but admire Huang Jintian. After kidnapping the two emperor dragons, he did not make any big movements, causing the Imperial Dragon Clan to not have any clues at all, so he left Huang Yuhi at the scene. However, the Imperial Dragon Clan was still very cautious. It was just a suspicion, and they had also sent people to investigate the Imperial Feather Race's side. If the Imperial Feather Race used it to threaten them, they would have to withdraw, because the two Emperor Dragons were good seedlings, and one of them was a holy dragon. Master, if we kill these two Emperor Dragons, do you think the Dragon Emperor will appear? Chen Xiang asked. The last time the Dragon Emperor appeared, it was because of his precious son's death. Although these two little Emperor Dragons are precious, they are not precious to the point of being like his precious son. Don't be afraid, even if he comes, we are still very safe. Huang Jintian said. If it were any ordinary person, forget about the Dragon Emperor, even dragons would not dare to provoke them. However, this pair of master and disciple dared to kill an Emperor Dragon, and were not afraid of the Dragon Emperor at all. There are 3 from the Imperial Avian race. Although all of them are immortal monarchs, you should be able to deal with them. Huang Jintian's face revealed a smile. Soon, I will be able to see the big show of biting the dog. Leave it to me, I'll go. Chen Xiang anxiously ran out of the hotel and ran in the direction of the transmission array. Just as the 3 immortal monarchs came out of the transmission array, they released a powerful aura, making everyone retreat far, far away, not daring to approach them. Didn't you say that Imperial Feather Race is very low-key? Why are you being so arrogant now? When Chen Xiang ran over, he felt an extremely arrogant aura, as if he was looking at someone who he disliked and wanted to kill. We are all immortal monarch, you better be careful. Long Shui replied, if that's not possible, I'll come out and help you. I can handle it. Chen Xiang had already seen the clothes of the 3 Imperial Feather Race rankers were as if they were made of feathers and shone with a piercing red light. They were all red and steaming hot, as if they were all made of fire. Hurry up and get lost, this transmission array will be ours from today onward. As a man shouted, he released his imperial feather aura, intimidating everyone present. Then how are we going to get out of here? One of the braver ones asked. Go to Hell, so you don't have to leave. The man from the imperial feather race sneered. With a raise of his hand, he released a streak of fiery light that struck towards that man, burning him to ashes. All of you, scram a bit further away. When I see you weak fellows, I want to crush you to death. Quickly, scram. If you don't scram, I will burn all of you. If it wasn't for the fact that I don't want to dirty my hands, you would have already died. Facing these three tyrannical and powerful imperial feather race, everyone could only grumble in their hearts, before leaving the transmission array one after another. When Chen Xiang saw them, he quickened his pace. These three imperial feather race had arrogant smiles on their faces. Looking at the people who were fleeing everywhere, they still had murderous intent in their hearts. They raised their hands and gathered their powerful flame energy, preparing to attack. Seeing this, Chen Xiang calculated the power of the spatial laws and then appeared in front of the three imperial feather race. Imperial avian race, it's not your turn to be arrogant here. Chen Xiang very loudly shouted. He swept his palm across, and very accurately slapped the three imperial feather race in the face, which released a paw sound. Slap his own face to injure it, thinking himself to be superior. Imperial feather race who was standing in the ninth heaven was actually slapped ruthlessly, and the power of this slap was very strong, causing their faces to swell up. Chen Xiang channeled the dragon power in his body. The one he was currently using was slightly different from the one he had used before. This was the power of the holy dragon, the one he had cultivated from consuming the holy dragon pellet last time. The power of the holy dragon, Imperial Dragon Clans. An imperial feather race shouted, but he felt much better because he had been beaten up by a holy dragon. If he were to be slapped like that by a human, it would truly be shameful. That's right, I was the one who hit you. After Chen Xiang finished speaking, he immediately dodged to the side to avoid the attack, and an imperial feather race spat out a burning flame. Originally, these three imperial feather race thought that the other party would launch a fierce attack and have a great battle with them. However, after Chen Xiang dodged that attack, he jumped into the air and flew away. Don't run. Naturally, the three from Imperial Feather Race would not let this go. They were slapped mercilessly, and they did not even manage to take a single hair off their opponent. How could they endure such a loss? Don't run. Naturally, the three from Imperial Feather Race would not let this go. They were slapped mercilessly, and they did not even manage to take a single hair off their opponent. How could they endure such a loss? What Chen Xiang wanted was precisely this kind of reaction from them. If he were to fight with these three Imperial Feather Races, he wouldn't be able to beat any of them. These three pigs will be eaten sooner or later. Long Shui scoffed, as expected. Imperial Feather Race is still the same as always, not changing at all. I don't know how they managed to pass down their teachings for so long, but this kind of arrogant fool, who can be compared with Imperial Dragon Clan, would only humiliate Imperial Dragon Clan. If you have the ability to sneak attack us, then don't you have the ability to face us head-on? Imperial Dragon Clan is such a guy after all. Imperial Feather Race who was chasing from behind shouted. 4 bullies like you who only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong, I feel that hitting you all would dirty my hand. Now, even if you guys were to stretch your other face over for me, I wouldn't even bother hitting you guys. Chen Xiang mocked. Although their speed was fast, it was not comparable to Chen Xiang using spatial travel. It was just that Chen Xiang had expended a lot of energy, and if not for Huang Jintian supporting him from the front, he wouldn't dare to use the power of the spatial laws so recklessly. He simply wasn't able to burn the innate qi rapidly in the heaven realm. Almost there. Chen Xiang was a little nervous. The mountain that had been split in half was the place where Huang Jintian had slayed the dragon. The moment he saw the gigantic mountain, he saw a burst of reddish-gold light suddenly appearing in front of him. The light expanded out in the blink of an eye, enveloping almost half of the immortal palace. The roar of the dead dragons. After Long Shui finished speaking, a burst of intense dragon roars came out, shaking the entire immortal palace till it started to tremble. A strong voice spread out in all directions, enveloping the entire myriad Dan immortal country. Did 2 dragons die at the same time? What's going on? An imperial feather race shouted in shock. Why didn't I do this when I first killed Prince Imperial Dragon? Chen Xiang and the others were stunned by the sight of the death of the dragon. Prince Imperial Dragon's strength is too weak, so there weren't any movements when he died. However, dragons of this level are different, and they're even royal dragons. Long Shui said. After the blinding light disappeared, there were 2 incomparably large dragon bodies lying in front of him. One was golden, while the other was red. Under the sunlight, the countless dragon scales on the 2 dragon bodies H.I. plus Ned with a dazzling light. Brat, it's your turn. I'll deal with them. Huang Jintian suddenly rushed forward. Chen Xiang did not expect these dragon corps to be so huge. It would be very difficult to burn them using obliterating flame. You need at least half of your blood to burn these 2 dragon corps. Hurry up, when the time comes, I'll guide you to release the obliterating flame. Long Shui said. If these 2 emperor dragons had died, with such a large movement, they would definitely attract the attention of the main palace. If they did not make a move soon, then they could only watch as these 2 dragon corps were taken away by the Imperial Dragon Clan. Chen Xiang stood on top of the golden dragon corpse. A strange feeling suddenly came to his mind, and then he heard Long Shui shout, "Your heart thinks of transforming your blood into flames, so that you can release it. Remember, you only need a small ball of it." Chen Xiang immediately followed his orders and released a small ball of flame. This flame was snow-white in color and didn't have any temperature at all, but it still made Chen Xiang feel that it was extremely frightening. He placed the flame on top of the dragon corpse beneath his feet and stuffed it into a large piece of dragon's scale. Then, he jumped onto another dragon corpse and released a ball of fire that disappeared just now and stuffed it under the dragon's scale. After doing all of this, Chen Xiang floated high in the sky and said with a frown, "Why is there no movement? It's already there. The interior is burning, but when this eclipse burn is ignited, you can't see it, nor can you feel the temperature." Long Shui said, "This flame is completely transparent." Sure enough, Chen Xiang didn't have to wait too long before he saw an Astoni's Hi plus ing scene. He saw the 2 gigantic dragon corpses disappear bit by bit, as if they were going to melt. Huang Jintian, who was fighting with the 3 royalty in the distance, released a very powerful dragon power that was actually able to suppress the 3 imperial feather races. He glanced at the 2 dragon corpses and realized that they were melting. Not long after, the dragon corpse completely disappeared. The 3 imperial feather races also saw this scene, but they did not know that this was the extinguished Hi plus ing of flames. There were some secrets regarding the Jade Dragon, so of course they would not know, but they felt that it was extremely strange. To collect the crystals is called extinguished Hi plus ing fire, but to burn the corpses and turn them into many crystals, that is of very pure energy. Long Shui shouted. Chen Xiang released his divine power and felt around the areas that the 2 dragon bodies had covered. He discovered that there were quite a few small crystals that were as big as small beads, and he used his divine power to lock them all in. There weren't many of these dragon crystals, only 2 jade boxes. But the pure energy contained within them was enormous. The Imperial Dragon Clan is here. There's still a large group of immortal kings. Let's quickly retreat. Huang Jintian rushed towards Chen Xiang as fast as he could and transmitted his voice to him. He's coming. He's very fast. Long Shui said nervously. Huang Jintian flew to Chen Xiang's side and grabbed him. Then, for some reason, Chen Xiang's vision went black, and he walked right through the darkness. I'm underground. I'm far away from that place now, Huang Jintian said. Long Shui was still monitoring them from afar. Those 3 royal birds are already dead. Once a holy dragon king from Imperial Dragon Clan appeared. He blasted them to death, leaving nothing behind. Looks like there's no proof that they died. They won't know that we did it. Chen Xiang laughed. Huang Jintian brought him to a river bank. He used the earth escape technique and the water escape technique to escape quickly. Well done this time, we master and disciple have teamed up. Is there anything we can't do? Huang Jintian laughed heartily as he took out 2 dragon orbs, radiating with golden and fiery red multicolored light. Halfway. You want the holy dragons and you want the fire dragons? Huang Jintian asked. It's probably the fire dragons. It might help my flame a little, Chen Xiang said as he also took out the 2 jade boxes, which were the dragon crystals he had collected. I want the holy dragon. I never thought that you would be able to use the power of the holy dragon. It should be the Prince Imperial Dragon's doing. Huang Jintian chuckled as he received the jade box from Chen Xiang's hands. If we lack spiritual crystal, then we can exchange for quite a few dragon crystals from them. This dragon pearl is even more so. Huang Jintian took out a dragon crystal and examined it carefully. This was holy dragons. It contained the power of the holy dragon. If you are crazy, then take the dragon pearl and sell it. Chen Xiang put it away. This was all used to raise his strength. He was lacking something like this right now. If it's used to exchange for precious medicinal ingredients, then that's more like it. Chen Xiang said again, he also needed this. Huang Jintian took out a few dragon crystals and threw them into his mouth to swallow, causing Chen Xiang to scream in shock. I have to recover my strength first. Bringing you along to run has consumed too much of my energy. You should also properly adjust your condition. If you can only give out this little bit of wealth, I'm afraid it won't satisfy you. Huang Jintian grinned. Chen Xiang smiled and nodded. This immortal palace would become a battlefield, and the heaven pills of the immortal king, immortal monarch S would also be good stuff. If he could open up their storage magic treasure, or pick up 1 or 2 dragon king dragon corpse, or even the corpses of royal birds, then he would profit greatly. Huang Jintian and Huang Jintian were resting right now, when the earth suddenly started to shake. Huang Jintian opened his eyes and looked at the beams of light in the blue sky, and said seriously, "The war is about to begin. It seems that both sides are fighting strongly, and the old king has already left the Myriad Dan immortal country. The battle for the throne has already started. I wonder who will be the new king of the immortal country. Anyway, it's not us, and these guys are all dog-eat-dog. That 6th prince's cooperation with Fire Divine Palace is definitely not something good, and he even used such a cruel and inhumane way to make slaves. If possible, I really want to make him suffer a bit," Chen Xiang said. "That's for sure, especially those fellows from the Fire Divine Palace. They actually wanted to force you to teach them that pill refining technique. After we rest well, we'll rush over and let them know why the flowers are so red." Huang Jintian sneered.